Chapter 2293. When the demon envoy attacked, the bloody light was too strong. Hence, many people's vision was blocked, and they couldn't see what was happening inside. No one knew what was happening to Ling Xiao. However, most people thought that Ling Xiao was dead for sure. Who's there? The demon envoy who was attacking Ling Xiao suddenly felt two terrifying auras. Turning his head, he saw Chunfeng Xiao and Sand Eagle charging at him from both sides at the same time. At that moment, all the disciples of the Shadow Devil sect were shocked. The square of the 8 Immortals County was filled with cheers. Boom! The terrifying attack hit the demon envoy instantly. The body of the demon envoy was smashed into pieces and turned into a bloody mist. Done! Sha Jiao and Chunfeng Xiao looked at each other with complacency. This is too easy. What a lousy Shadow Devil sect. It's not even worth mentioning. Sha Jiao said disdainfully. That's right. After killing this demon envoy, there shouldn't be any powerful people left in the Devil's Shadow sect. Chun Wuyen, you've really been blinded by the devil. How can you associate yourself with such an evil creature? Chunfeng Xiao looked at Chun Wuyen and shouted, Little nephew, don't talk nonsense. The Shadow Devil sect is a supreme sect. If you offend them, you will be in trouble. Chun Wuyen was Chunfeng Xiao's uncle. Hence, it was reasonable for him to call Chunfeng Xiao his nephew. Why are you still so stubborn? Brother Sha, do you have any objections if I take Chun Wuyen away? Chunfeng Xiao asked. Of course not. However, someone is broadcasting the scene here. You have to explain yourself. Sha Jiao and Chunfeng Xiao had carried out missions together in the past. Although the Heavenly Wind Group had a grudge against the 8 Immortals Mountain, they had always been on good terms. Moreover, the two of them had done some shady business together. They were birds of a feather. Don't worry. I will. Wait. Chunfeng Xiao was about to speak when he suddenly noticed that the mist around them hadn't dissipated. Logically speaking, the bloody mist should have dissipated after the demon envoy was killed. However, it hadn't dissipated yet. This meant that something was wrong. The gold members of the Heavenly Wind Group are indeed powerful. It's a pity that you discovered it too late. How can the two of you possibly escape from my blood mist formation? The one who spoke was actually the demon envoy that had clearly been killed just now. The guy who was good at formations. Oh no, neither of us knows anything about formations. There was no doubt that Chunfeng Xiao and Sand Eagle were stronger than the demon envoy, but the problem was that they were trapped in the array because of their carelessness and arrogance. Not only could the blood mist formation trap them, it could also continuously absorb their blood chi, making them weak and powerless. The appearance of the two of you really gave me a fright. It seems that this place has been exposed, but it doesn't matter. I've just changed the method of entering the underground city. No one else can come in. Just obediently become nutrients for the blood-sucking demonic beast, you two idiots. The demon envoy looked coldly at Chunfeng Xiao and the Sand Eagle. If he hadn't been prepared, he would have really died today. It seemed that he had to be more careful. Invincible. The devil envoy is invincible. Seeing this scene, the disciples of the Devil's Shadow sect shouted excitedly, while the warriors of the 8 Immortal City all turned pale and despair appeared on their faces. Those who had just been bragging about how powerful Chunfeng Xiao and the Sand Eagle had completely collapsed. Ling Xiao is dead, and those two idiots are trapped. It seems that it's impossible to destroy this blood-sucking formation. Why don't we fight? Wang Cheng looked at Feng Huan and asked. Just now, everyone was paying attention to Chunfeng Xiao and the Sand Eagle. They all thought that Ling Xiao had died in the terrifying attack of the demon envoy. Therefore, Wang Cheng was ready to make a final gamble. Let's go all out. Ling Xiao died for us, so we can't live either. Feng Huan nodded and said, Count me in. There were no tears on Ling Zhao's face, only coldness and determination. With Ling Zhao's death, her world seemed to have turned dark and colorless all of a sudden. At this time, what was the point of living? It was better to die. In fact, Ling Xiao was not dead at this time, but he was indeed injured. He clashed head-on with the demon envoy and released the move Heavenly Fire. Then, a terrifying wound appeared on his abdomen, so deep that his bones could be seen. He was injured by the terrifying sickle chi. If it were an ordinary person, they would definitely be eroded by the death chi and gradually lose their vitality. But Ling Xiao had the heavenly demon battle body. The death chi had no effect on him at all. In addition, his life martial soul had a strong recovery. He was recovering his combat strength at an extremely fast speed, and he was observing the demon envoy's every move. Although the performance of those two idiots, Qin Fengxiao and Sha Diao, really opened my eyes, fortunately, everything is going according to my plan. Ling Xiao's heavenly fire did not seem to have any effect on the demon envoy, but in fact, the special effect had already taken effect. It was just that outsiders could not see it. Feng Huan, Wang Cheng, and Ling Jiaojiao were about to step out of the Vajra formation. Ling Xiao was a little anxious. Just as he was about to speak, he saw the three of them walk back. Although he did not understand why, this was the best choice. He just needed a little bit more, and he would be able to fully recover. In fact, the three of them had heard Lin Ruoxian's warning. Lin Ruoxian only said 4 words, "Ling Xiao is not dead." As for why she knew this, it was because she had once left a strand of her own divine sense on Ling Xiao. Once Ling Xiao's life was in danger, she would be able to sense it. For Ling Xiao, she had put in a lot of effort. Many times Lin Ruoxian could not explain why she was so good to this kid, but Ling Xiao had never let her down. He had won glory for her time and time again. His performance was really amazing. With the time Lin Ruoxian bought, Ling Xiao finally recovered completely. At this time, the demon envoy had already turned to look at Ling Jiaojiao. "Ha ha ha, as I said, you can't escape the reality of becoming a blood-sucking demon beast sacrifice. But that Ling Xiao, if it weren't for you, he wouldn't have died. I think he's at least a heaven-grade genius. What a pity, what a pity." As he spoke, the demon envoy walked towards the Vajra array. Although there was a small interlude, everything would go smoothly according to his plan. But at this moment, a strong, murderous aura pierced through the blood light, completely dispersing the surrounding blood light. "Old dog, you want to kill me with your little tricks? You're dreaming." Ling Xiao's figure appeared in the bloody light, completely unscathed. How is this possible? The demon envoy saw that Ling Xiao did not show any signs of injury, and was so shocked that his soul almost flew out of his body. Even the appearance of Qin Fengxiao and the Sand Eagle did not make him so shocked. Ling Xiao could actually take his death scythe attack and not die. This was unbelievable. One had to know that the same move could easily kill a martial artist of the first transformation, 2nd level of hell. Chapter 2294. Qin Fengxiao and Sand Eagle made a high-profile appearance, but they were easily trapped by the demon envoy. Even the entrance to the underground city was sealed. It was almost impossible for people outside to enter. On the 8 Immortals County Square, everyone showed a look of despair. They wanted to escape from the 8 Immortals County, but they found that the county was already trapped in a bloody light. No matter where you go, you will eventually return to the city. And in this bloody light, you have to face the attacks of the terrifying tentacles again and again. If you are not careful, you will die and turn into a dried corpse. They can't escape. The 2 people who had high hopes can no longer pin their hopes on them. What should they do? Despair once again spread throughout the 8 Immortals County. It was in this critical situation that Ling Xiao was resurrected. Ling Xiao, who was thought to be dead for sure, was actually standing there unscathed. His battle prowess seemed to have increased as well. "Old thing, you want to kill me? You don't have the ability." Ling Xiao looked at the demon envoy. His fighting spirit skyrocketed. If the attack just now was the demon envoy's strongest attack, then he could rest assured. Relying on the mysterious world body, Sun God transformation, intermediate thunder and lightning battle body, and intermediate lava battle body. Now, it would not be easy for him to die. Ling Xiao's body began to change. His original human appearance turned into a cold monster. Terrifying scales appeared on his body, and his eyes emitted a cold light. His sharp teeth and claws looked particularly strange under the bloody light. Beast warrior? Everyone who saw Ling Xiao's transformation let out the same exclamation. Didn't they say that beast warriors have long been extinct in the Black Tortoise continent? Who knows? But rumor has it that beast warriors are incomparably powerful. Under the same cultivation, whether it is combat strength or defense, they are shockingly strong. But what kind of beast warrior is this Ling Xiao? I can't see his transformation. Who cares as long as this kid can save us? He is the hero of the 8 Immortals County. Yes, at the same time, many people on 8 Immortal Mountains saw the same scene. The mountain master of the Scarlet Immortal Mountain, Qi Lian, was extremely vexed. Such a genius has actually fallen into the hands of the mountain master of the Black Immortal Mountain. Why didn't I recruit him back then? What a pity. The Orange Fairy Mountain's mountain master was even more regretful. If I had known that this brat was a heaven-ranked genius, I would have married Fei Ying to him. Sigh. Even the Sand Race, who had always been unhappy with Ling Xiao and wanted to get rid of Ling Xiao, also sent out a secret order. Try to recruit Ling Xiao as much as possible. Give him the same treatment as a disciple of the family. If he's sensible, train him vigorously. If he doesn't know what's good for him, get rid of him as soon as possible. Such a person must not be allowed to live after becoming our enemy. For Desert Sea and Desert Cloud, who had a grudge against Ling Xiao, such a secret order was naturally very unpleasant. But so what if he was unhappy? They would never dare to disobey the family's secret order. Now, they could only hope that Ling Xiao would fail to adapt to the situation. In the underground city on the altar, the demon envoy was more shocked than anyone else. But in the next moment, his shock turned into malevolence. Brat, you were lucky to escape from that attack just now, but it's definitely impossible for you to do it again. The demon envoy was furious. In any case, there was no need to worry about outside experts coming to stop him. He finally stopped holding back. Terrifying blood, qi filled the air again, and the terrifying blood-red scythe continued to gather terrifying power. Ling Xiao, please don't let anything happen to him. Ling Jiaojiao really wanted to go out and help, but she was firmly held back by Feng Huan and Wang Cheng. The difference in strength was too great. If she went out now, she would only be a burden to Ling Xiao. Ling Jiaojiao's tears flowed again. Ling Xiao had survived, and she was very happy. But in the blink of an eye, she had to face the demon envoy's terrifying attack again. This time, would he be able to survive by luck? Idiot, with your strength, what right do you have to fight him? Don't you know formations? Hurry up and think of a way to save us. Sha Jiao shouted loudly in the blood mist formation. Brother Ling, now is not the time to be swayed by emotions. If the 3 of us work together, we can definitely destroy the blood-sucking formation easily. Qin Feng Xiao also shouted. At this time, this guy's attitude immediately changed. He became like this when he had a favor to ask of others. It was really quite laughable. However, Ling Xiao didn't look at them at all. It wasn't that Ling Xiao didn't want to break the blood mist formation. He was a calm person and knew that Sha Jiao's words were right. But the problem was, would the demon envoy give him this chance? He had saved Ling Jiaojiao before because the demon envoy had let down his guard against him and succeeded. But now, the demon envoy's eyes were fixed on him. If he really went to save them, then the first to die would be him. Death Scythe, Bloodlust. The same attack attacked Ling Xiao. The power was no weaker than before, and even seemed to be slightly stronger. Ling Xiao held the sword in his right hand and stabbed out. Lightning Fall. Terrifying sword qi turned into shocking lightning and blasted on that scythe. The scythe instantly became extremely heavy and finally fell to the ground with a loud crash. This was the special effect of the outer tier fall. The additional gravity was really useful. However, what made Ling Xiao unhappy was that although he could block the demon envoy's attack, he couldn't hurt the demon envoy at all. He couldn't do anything else under the demon envoy's attack. For example, stopping Qin Wuyan from activating the blood-sucking formation. At this moment, the demon envoy sneered and said loudly, "All disciples begin the blood sacrifice and kill the blood pigs. I don't believe that this kid can block my attack after I obtain the power of the blood-sucking formation." The demon envoy saw that his attack couldn't do anything to Ling Xiao, so he thought of another way. Once the blood-sucking formation was activated, the blood and qi would be absorbed into the body of the blood-sucking demonic beast. Then his power would increase. The longer it lasted, the faster it would increase. Although the blood-sucking formation's effect would be greatly reduced without Ling Jiaojiao, he didn't care anymore. Yes. The disciples of the Shadow Devil sect let out a deafening roar, followed by the blood-sucking screams of the blood pigs. Hearing these screams, Ling Xiao's veins couldn't help but bulge. This black tortoise continent would definitely become his. Ling Xiao's black tortoise continent. Those blood pigs would also become his people. If he could do it and didn't do it, he would definitely regret it. Moreover, once the blood-sucking formation was fully activated, Ling Jiaojiao would definitely die. This was also something that he absolutely couldn't tolerate. It seemed that he had to release an even more powerful force. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to stop the demon envoy. Ha 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 ha, how do you feel, Ling Xiao? Are you very depressed? Very anxious? Speaking of which, you're just a turtle with a stronger defense. Although I can't kill you, I can firmly imprison you, and you can't hurt me in the slightest. The demon envoy laughed loudly and said, "When the blood-sucking sacrifice is over, I will truly have the cultivation of the late stage of the first transformation of the third level of hell. At that time, let's see who dares to look down on me." Chapter 2295. The demon envoy's cultivation had to be strengthened by the vampiric sacrifice. Ling Xiao knew this too. The demon envoy's cultivation was the same as most of the demon shadow sect's disciples. He relied on the vampiric demonic technique to raise his cultivation. Although his cultivation was at the third level of the yin-yang realm, his actual combat power was only at the early stage of the third level of the yin-yang realm. Even so, it was impossible for Ling Xiao to defeat him. The only thing he could do was attract the demon envoy's attention. Damn it, do I really have to expose myself here? Ling Xiao really didn't want to expose himself in front of so many people. Once exposed, the consequences would be unthinkable. There would be a lot of trouble in the future. But could he not expose himself? Could he just watch as Ling Jiaojiao was killed? Could he just watch the demon shadow sect's beasts be so smug? Ha ha ha, kill, kill. You bloody pigs are only fit to be our demon shadow sect's cultivation materials. You want that Ling Xiao to save you? Stop dreaming. He can't even protect himself now. Tonight belongs to the demon shadow sect. It belongs to all of the demon shadow sect's disciples. Ha ha ha. Smug roars sounded one after another, followed by screams. Lin Ruoxian, who was streaming, couldn't watch anymore. She tried to kill the demon shadow sect's people. However, at this moment, her heart suddenly trembled. It was as if something terrifying was about to happen. She looked in horror at the source of the power that made her heart palpitate. Ling Xiao. The demon envoy was just as shocked as her. The demon envoy was enjoying the power boost from the vampiric formation and Ling Xiao's anxious and helpless expression. He was enjoying the screams of countless bloody pigs. However, at this moment, his expression instantly turned solemn. A terrifying power that he had never seen before exploded from Ling Xiao's body. It made his heart tremble. This power seemed to come from ancient times. It was wild and ferocious. What's going on? The demon envoy looked at Ling Xiao in confusion. He wanted to know what this kid was doing. At this moment, Ling Xiao's body was suspended in midair. The originally black scales on his body had turned a scarlet color. Behind him was the boundless universe. A huge claw reached out from the universe. Then there was a deep roar. It was as if there was an earthquake, causing the entire 8 immortal city to shake. Dong! Dong! Heavy footsteps came closer and closer. After the huge claw was followed by a huge head. It was an extremely strange and huge demonic beast that looked like a combination of a rat and a black tortoise. It had the shrewdness of a rat and also the aggressiveness of a black tortoise. In particular, the monster's body had a strange aura that could destroy the world, causing the demon envoy's heartbeat to accelerate. Blood chi was blood. The demon envoy's internal energy to shadow roar. The monster walked out of the pitch-black universe and let out a roar that reverberated through the world. Then, the most terrifying thing happened. The demon envoy to demon blood Lulin. Demon blood Lulin's envoy was an extremely powerful demon beast. Its cultivation was at least equivalent to a warrior in the 4th layer of hell. But facing this monster, it couldn't help but tremble. Even the demon blood sucking array stopped. All the disciples of the demon shadow sect felt fear and palpitations. They trembled as they watched this scene. The butcher knives in their hands had already stopped. It wasn't that they didn't want to continue killing, but that they had no other choice. The terrifying pressure released by the demon envoy wasn't something they could withstand. Kill! Ling Xiao opened his scarlet eyes and spat out a word. The huge demon envoy waved its claws and slapped the demon blood Lulin's envoy. The demon blood Lulin tried to resist, but the demon envoy's snake-like tail bit down on its vital point. Mournful howls continued to ring out. If it was a one-on-one battle, the demon envoy could easily kill Ling Xiao. But at this moment, it was suppressed by the demon envoy's beast god power and couldn't use its strength. Moreover, in order to prevent the demon envoy from acting recklessly, the demon envoy also restrained the demon envoy, making it unable to attack. By the time the demon envoy wanted to release the demon envoy, it was already too late. The demon envoy's blood was sucked dry by the demon envoy in one gulp and turned into a dried-up skin bag. The demon blood sucking array stopped completely. What's going on? The demon envoy's blood was sucked out instead? What exactly is that monster? This scene made everyone who saw it feel incomparably shocked. Even Ling Xiao himself was dumbfounded. In fact, Ling Xiao originally planned to release the Sky Tyrant martial spirit and fully unleash his strength to fight the demon envoy. But the moment he released the Sky Tyrant martial spirit, the demon envoy actually reacted. The demon envoy was originally incomparably powerful. After obtaining the Sky Tyrant martial spirit, it instantly evolved into the Sky Tyrant demon envoy. It became stronger than before and also obtained some characteristics of the Sky Tyrant martial spirit. As the beast god of the Black Tortoise continent, it originally controlled all the beasts of the Black Tortoise continent. The demon envoy was also a beast and would naturally submit to the beast god's power. Ling Xiao had thought of this, which was why he had released his sun god martial spirit and killed the blood-sucking demonic beast in one strike. The moment he killed the blood-sucking demonic beast, Ling Xiao could clearly feel the blood-sucking demonic beast's power being transmitted to him through his sun god martial spirit. It merged into his body. The tightly locked promotion gate finally opened again. What are you waiting for? These are the murderers who killed you. Kill them, and you'll be saved. Ling Xiao's cultivation had finally reached the peak of the 1st layer of hell, but he still needed to consolidate it. At this moment, he cooperated with the Sky Tyrant demon envoy to put all the demon shadow sect's disciples in an indescribably terrible situation. Their blood qi flowed backward, and their internal energy was chaotic. Not to mention fighting, they couldn't even keep their bodies from collapsing. Some half-step yin-yang realm disciples of the demon shadow sect directly exploded and died on the spot. The demonic seeds flew directly into Ling Zhao's body. Ling Zhao's cultivation continued to rise. The power in his body was constantly strengthening. Kill! Finally, the blood pig's imprisonment was completely broken, and they started a crazy counterattack. Feng Huan, Wang Cheng, and Ling Jiaojiao happily charged into the midst of the demon shadow sect's disciples. Their revenge, their hatred, they wanted to vent it all at this moment. Seeing this, Qin Huiyan was scared out of his wits. He turned around and fled. The demon envoy wanted to stop this massacre, but he found that Ling Xiao, wearing the scarlet sun god armor, had already appeared in front of him. Ling Xiao was the one who was anxious before, but now the demon envoy was anxious. It's all your fault. It's all your fault for ruining my plan. I'm going to kill you. The demon envoy roared and tried to use the bloodlight to kill Ling Xiao. But at this moment he found that because the demon envoy was killed, his soul was connected to the demon envoys, causing him to suffer a backlash. Chapter 2296. The blood-sucking beast was killed and the demon envoy's soul was injured. His strength had shrunk once again. He would be thankful if he could reach the middle stage of the second layer of hell. Humph, you only relied on the blood-sucking array and the blood-sucking beast. Now that the blood-sucking beast is dead and the array is destroyed, what else can you do? Ling Xiao looked coldly at the demon envoy. He was confident that he could defeat the demon envoy now. Even if I'm not as strong as before, I'm still confident that I can kill you. The demon envoy was still stubborn. Ha ha ha, you couldn't kill me just now. You can't do it now. Ling Xiao looked disdainfully at the demon envoy and laughed. But don't worry, I'll let you watch all the disciples of the Shadow Devil sect die before I kill you. In the following time, Ling Xiao kept the demon envoy busy, dodging and obstructing him. He waited until all the disciples of the Shadow Devil sect were dead. Then he stopped and deactivated the Sky Tyrant Martial Spirit. The Sky Tyrant Martial Spirit also returned to his original state. The demon envoy felt that the terrifying pressure had disappeared. But when he saw the corpses all over the place, he was like an enraged beast that wanted to make Ling Xiao pay a heavy price. The captured blood pigs all had excited expressions on their faces. No one was afraid. They had been raised and tortured like pigs. Today, Ling Xiao had given them a chance to take revenge. They all knelt down and shouted Ling Xiao's name. Ling Xiao! Ling Xiao! Ling Xiao's name would be heard throughout the 8 Immortals County from today onwards. Lin Ruoxian was also happy for Ling Xiao. After today's incident, even if some people from the 8 Immortals Mountain wanted to deal with Ling Xiao, they would have to think twice. After all, Ling Xiao was the hero of the 8 Immortals County. If they attacked him without any reason, it would arouse the anger of the people. Neither the 8 Immortals Mountain nor the Tianfeng group dared to do that. In the dark tunnel, Chen Wuyan fled desperately. The moment Ling Xiao unleashed the tyrant son of Heaven God, it had given him a terrifying shock. He had lost his will to fight. Right now, he only wanted to run for his life. However, in the darkness, a ray of light flashed, and Chen Wuyan was killed silently. The one who attacked was Lin Ruoxian. How could she let a scum like Chen Wuyan escape so easily? Moreover, as long as Chen Wuyan was alive, she would bring great trouble to Ling Xiao. She didn't want to see Ling Xiao being targeted by Chen Chongsheng. You're worse than a beast. You deserve to die. Looking at Chen Wuyan's corpse, Lin Ruoxian snorted coldly. Of course, this scene was not broadcasted live. She was not stupid. If she killed Chen Wuyan, she would definitely offend Chen Chongsheng. She didn't want Ling Xiao to get into trouble, and she didn't want to get into trouble either. This kind of assassination was actually the best method. On the other side, Ling Xiao was facing the demon envoy. A sneer appeared on his face. "Oh, demon envoy, you've used up all your tricks, but in the end you're all alone. How do you feel?" It wasn't that Ling Xiao didn't want to use the Tyrant son of Heaven God to intimidate the demon envoy, but he couldn't do it. Although the demon envoy would also be affected by this kind of pressure before the blood-sucking beast was devoured, and his strength would decrease. He was definitely not an easy opponent. However, this was also good. He could fight face-to-face, one-on-one. It would also let Ling Xiao know how much his combat strength had improved after his cultivation breakthrough. In the darkness, Lin Ruoxian hesitated for a moment and directly cut off the broadcast. In the previous battle, Ling Xiao had shown shocking strength, which was enough to make Ling Xiao famous. Facing the demon envoy next, many people would probably want to see Ling Xiao's performance. However, Lin Ruoxian thought further. This time, Ling Xiao was going to participate in the 8 Immortal Mountains disciple test. He couldn't completely expose his strength. Although the Tyrant son of Heaven God was powerful, to be honest, even she didn't know whether that was Ling Xiao's strength or the god that originally existed in the underground city. The whole battle was between the Tyrant son of Heaven God and the blood-sucking beast. Ling Xiao didn't make a move. It wouldn't expose Ling Xiao's true strength. In the future, there would definitely be people who would say that Ling Xiao had gotten lucky. That would be a good thing for Ling Xiao. Of course, Ling Xiao didn't know this. He just wanted to kill the demon envoy in front of him to vent his anger. At the same time, it was also a trial for him to improve his cultivation. This guy actually dared to attack his sister. He absolutely couldn't be forgiven. Of course, in contrast to Ling Xiao's confidence, Feng Huan, Wang Cheng, Ling Jiaojiao, and the countless blood-sucking pigs were extremely nervous. Because as long as the demon envoy didn't die, it wouldn't be over. The demon envoy could kill all of them by himself. The demon envoy naturally understood this point. He coldly swept his eyes over everyone and said, "Good, very good. You guys really have some ability. You actually dare to resist. You've killed so many of my disciples. You're really savage. But don't forget, a debt of blood must be paid in blood. I'll make you all die here, especially you, Ling Xiao. Although I don't know how you swallowed the blood-sucking beast. With you as the core of the blood-sucking formation, you should be able to make the formation even more terrifying. Perhaps I've profited from this disaster." For the 8 Immortals, county branch of the Spectre sect, only the demon envoy sent by the headquarters was a true member of the Spectre sect. Only with his death would the Spectre sect in the 8 Immortals county be completely eradicated. But killing this guy was easier said than done. Young hero Ling will help you deal with him. The blood-sucking pigs were grateful that Ling Xiao had saved them. They loudly shouted, and several of them flew into the air to kill the demon envoy. They wanted to use their lives to help Ling Xiao defeat the demon envoy. Stop! By the time Ling Xiao wanted to stop them, it was already too late. Although the demon envoy's strength had decreased due to the backlash, it was still easy for him to deal with these blood-sucking pigs. In addition, the demon envoy was proficient in formations and had a very strange martial soul. He was probably much stronger than a martial artist at the second stage of the Yin-Yang realm. The moment Ling Xiao's voice rang out, the demon envoy's attack was already released. He didn't make a move. The blood-sucking pigs were sucked dry in midair. Only Ling Xiao saw clearly that the demon envoy had a blood-sucking secret technique that was even more terrifying than the other disciples of the Spectre sect. It could suck blood within a certain range. Ha ha ha! A bunch of ants worse than pigs and dogs actually dared to challenge the authority of the Spectre sect. It seems like you're really anxious to die. Come, all of you, come at me together. I'll definitely let you die very quickly. The demon envoy laughed wildly and was extremely arrogant. Don't move. This guy should have some kind of secret technique that can suck your blood and chi within a certain range to increase his strength. Don't be afraid. With me here, he won't be arrogant for long. You guys can enjoy this moment of relief. Ling Xiao waved his hand and signaled the blood-sucking pigs, Feng Huan, and the others to move aside. Chapter 2297. Young Hero Ling, don't do anything rash. Although this guy looks weaker than before, he is still an expert from the second layer of hell. You are definitely not his match. Feng Huan shouted anxiously. I said I can deal with him alone. Trust me. Ling Xiao turned around and looked at everyone, revealing a confident smile that was as bright as the sun. But Feng Huan wanted to say something, but Ling Xiao's confident smile made her unable to say anything. She could only watch as Ling Xiao walked towards the demon envoy. A bunch of idiots. He wants to die, don't you know how to stop him? Attack together, kill that old dog, and it will be over. Sha Jiao shouted in the blood-mist array. However, no one paid attention to him. Although Ling Xiao now had the chance to save Sha Jiao and Qin Feng Xiao, he would not do it, because the only enemy left was the demon envoy. He had enough confidence to deal with him. How could he give up such a good test subject to others? He. Qin Feng Xiao, Sha Jiao, it's useless for you two to be anxious. After I deal with this idiot, I will naturally kill the two of you. I believe that the blood of the disciples of the Eight Immortals Mountain and the gold members of the Tianfeng group must be very nutritious. The demon envoy looked at the anxious Qin Feng Xiao and Sha Jiao with a cold smile and said proudly. Then he looked at Ling Xiao with hatred and anger. Brat, that evil martial spirit of yours really gave me a shock. However, you should only be able to use such a powerful move once, right? You have ruined my plan and the heavy responsibility that the sect leader has given me. Our vampire sacrifice may be delayed for years or even decades because of this huge failure. It's all your fault. You cannot escape from your punishment. Although I may not be able to escape death when I return to the sect, as long as I capture you alive, I can change my fate. Unfortunately, you may not even be able to return to your devil shadow sect. Ling Xiao looked at the demon envoy indifferently. The opponent's strength had been greatly reduced, but his strength had reached the peak of the first layer of hell. This was the true cultivation of the first layer of hell. The power he possessed was many times stronger than before. Previously, when he faced the demon envoy, he had no chance of victory. He could only barely keep his life. But now, with the difference in strength, he was filled with confidence in defeating the demon envoy. Brat, you're arrogant enough, but the more arrogant a person is, the sooner they die. Today, you will definitely die. A brutal bloody light once again erupted from the demon envoy's body, but the range was not as large as before, and this range was still shrinking. In the end, it completely fused into the demon envoy's body. This was the complete recovery of the energy that had leaked out, and it looked like it wanted to get rid of Ling Xiao completely. Everyone, just you wait. The blood-sucking sacrifice will start again. Blood pigs will always be blood pigs. None of you can escape this fate. Die. In that instant, the demon envoy's body turned into a bloody fog of nothingness that hurtled towards Ling Xiao. Blood mist barrier. With a furious roar, the demon envoy's blood fog turned into a fierce beast that rushed towards Ling Xiao. It clearly wanted to wrap around Ling Xiao and suck him dry. Let's try out the body movement after the improvement of my cultivation. Moonlight meteor step, quick! As Ling Xiao's internal force circulated, his body suddenly left its original position. This speed was 10 times faster than before. Still want to escape? Your Moonlight Meteor Step is only a deacon's low-grade Jade martial skill. How can it be stronger than my mid-grade Jade martial skill? Blood Mist Illusionary Step. The demon envoy could attack others at this time, but in his heart he knew very well that if he did not kill Ling Xiao, it would be meaningless to kill others. and Ling Xiao would not allow him to do so. Plus, he was very confident in his body movement. His blood mist illusionary step had already reached the Deshang level. Even a martial artist of the same cultivation level might not be able to catch up with him, not to mention a mere Ling Xiao. But when he really chased after him, he was shocked to find that Ling Xiao's speed was much faster than before. Not only that, it was clearly a low-grade jade martial skill, but when used it was not inferior to his mid-grade jade martial skill. In fact, it was obviously faster. Could it be that I misjudged? The demon envoy's shocked voice came from the blood mist. Yes, you did misjudge, and it was a serious misjudgment. As his voice rang out, Ling Xiao suddenly turned around and stabbed at the demon envoy's side with even more terrifying speed. The demon envoy panicked, the blood-red sickle against the heavy sword filled with the power of thunder and lightning. The underground city could not help but shake. Then the two returned to their original positions. If it wasn't for the demon envoy's astonished expression being too obvious, people would have thought that nothing had happened. Of course, the demon envoy would be surprised. Not only did Ling Xiao's speed increase a lot, even his attack power increased a lot. Just now, although he reacted hastily, the terrifying power of the sword really cracked the web between his thumb and index finger. He did not want Ling Xiao to see his embarrassment, so he deliberately pretended that there was no problem. Your cultivation level has broken through? You actually reached the peak of the first layer of hell. But you can't be thinking that with just this little bit of cultivation, you can compete with me, right? Don't think that after my strength decreased sharply after the backlash, you can bully me. Don't forget, you should know very well that I am still stronger than you. The demon envoy did not immediately attack, but circulated his internal energy to heal his injuries and looked at Ling Xiao at the same time. Ling Xiao ignored him. He just stretched his limbs and smiled. After breaking through to the first rank, even if it's a small rank, the power it brings is very terrifying. I've struck gold. In the past, Ling Xiao was worried that his gains would not make up for his losses, but now it seemed that the situation was much better than he imagined. With his current cultivation level, although it was still not as good as the demon envoy, it was enough if he combined it with the sun god martial spirit transformation, the mid-grade lightning body and the mid-grade lava body. To Ling Xiao, the demon envoy was just a small stepping stone on his path of improvement. Defeating him was a must. It was also a must. But he also understood that for those who were full of expectations for him, this battle could not be lost. If he failed, it would be death and destruction. Not only would he die, the entire 8 immortal city would be turned into ruins. No one would be able to survive, because Ling Xiao understood what he represented. If the demon envoy used him as the core of the blood-sucking great array, it would be hundreds or even thousands of times stronger than using Ling Jiao Jiao and the blood-sucking demonic beast. After all, the Sky Tyrant martial spirit was not just for show, it was really incomparably powerful. You were the one attacking just now. Now it's my turn. After trying to improve his movement skill, Ling Xiao wanted to test how much the power of his sword skill had improved. Chapter 2298. Idiot, you're faster than him. Just waste time with him. Why do you have to fight face to face? You're courting death. When the idiot heard Ling Xiao's words, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He thought he had never seen such a stupid guy, and he didn't expect that he would have to entrust his life to such an idiot. He's a little stupid. It's understandable that young people lack combat experience. But it's okay normally, but now he's being stupid. It's really intolerable. Qunfeng Xiao also thought that Ling Xiao was being stupid. Even the demon envoy felt that his chance had come. If it was a competition of speed, the demon envoy knew that he couldn't catch up to Ling Xiao. The process of chasing Ling Xiao just now made him so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. Now that Ling Xiao was being stupid and wanted to fight him head-on, he was really happy. Happy? You won't think so later. Sensing the smile on the demon envoy's face, Ling Xiao secretly sneered. The next moment his sword intense sword. On the heavy sword in his hand, the purple-blue divine codex and the crimson lava converged together. It erupted with an even more powerful aura than before, and this aura was still rising. The demon envoy was obviously not intimidated by Ling Xiao's sword intent, and the terrifying death scythe condensed again. Kid, you probably don't know. Although my cultivation was high before, most of my power was used on the vampiric array. The death scythe's attack looks powerful, but in fact it's not the strongest. Now my strength is sharply reduced, but I don't need to care about the vampiric array or the vampiric beasts. I only need to pour all my power into this terrifying death scythe. You're dead. Of course, the demon envoy didn't say these words. He wouldn't give Ling Xiao any chance to be on guard. This was what he thought deep in his heart. It was also his truest thought at this moment. Die, Ling Xiao. Death scythe, all or nothing. Damn it, it's you. Thunder lava, heaven and earth change. Heavenly fire. It was still the second style of the meteor sword art, but it was infused with the power of the intermediate thunder battle constitution and intermediate lava battle constitution. Lava and lightning became the main theme of the heavenly fire. The countless sword chis gradually fused into one, transforming into a massive black and beautiful meteor that smashed towards the demon envoy. This again. How laughable! The demon envoy was not afraid of Ling Xiao's move because he had already tried it before. However, Ling Xiao only smiled indifferently. It was a confident smile. Simply speaking, his yin and yang elemental energy had already reached the level of the early stage of the first transformation, second level of hell. Even though his cultivation base had yet to reach the required level, the quality of his essence energy had already reached the required level. Coupled with the terrifying intermediate lightning combat body and intermediate lava combat body, the power of this sword had definitely reached the intermediate stage of the first transformation, second level of hell. But if that was all, Ling Xiao might not necessarily be able to kill the demon envoy. He could only fight to a standstill. Don't forget that Ling Xiao's current state was still the sun, god, martial soul transformation. In addition, when Ling Xiao had used heavenly fire, he had fused it with the special effect of fire-fearing body. This special effect sounded pretty useless, but in reality it was very powerful. This was because he could increase the damage his opponent received by several times. Unfortunately, the demon envoy did not know this. When he realized that the meteor sword chi released by Ling Xiao's sword was 10 times more powerful than before, he was shocked. He finally panicked. This was not the strength of a first revolution yin-yang realm cultivator at the peak of the first level of hell. That's not it. That's not it. The demon envoy was incomparably panicked. But at this moment, an arrow had already been knocked on the bowstring. If he chose to flee, he would die an even more miserable death. Therefore, he chose to resist. The two powerful attacks collided in an instant. This time, the demon envoy's expression became even more unsightly, because in his opinion, even if Ling Xiao's attack was 10 times more powerful, he should only be injured and then take the opportunity to escape. But when this terrifying attack came into contact with his death scythe, he was stunned. The heavenly fire special effect hidden in his body took effect. 10 times became dozens of times more powerful. How could this not shock the demon envoy? Unfortunately, the shock this time couldn't change anything. The moment the death scythe came into contact with the terrifying meteor sword chi, it was completely torn apart and turned into a bloody mist. Then, the sword chi blasted the demon envoy's body without any resistance. A huge bloody hole was left there. Ling Xiao did not forget to take out the demon seed from the demon envoy's body. Then he used the power of lava to completely melt the demon envoy and completely destroy him. Before dying, the demon envoy could only show a look of shock and disbelief. He could not do anything else. I told you, the one who should die is you. Ling Xiao looked at the demon envoy's corpse that had turned into ashes and said indifferently, "In this battle, Ling Xiao was unscathed and easily killed the demon envoy." This not only shocked Ling Jiaojiao, Feng Huan, and Wang Cheng, but even the Sand Eagle and Qin Fengxiao were dumbfounded. Returning to his original appearance, Ling Xiao looked at Ling Jiaojiao and said, "This is the fate of those who bully my sister, so don't be so unconfident in me in the future, okay?" Even though the battle was over, and Ling Xiao even made a teasing sound, the surroundings were still deathly silent. After a long time, the rescued blood pigs let out earth-shattering cheers. Lin Ruoxian, who was hiding in the dark, smiled and started the live broadcast again. In the square of the 8 Immortal City, the big screen showed only the scene of Ling Xiao being held up by the blood pigs in celebration. Everyone was stunned. Could it be that Ling Xiao killed the demon envoy? It seems so. Otherwise, how could those people worship him so much? But is this possible? Yes, is it possible? Even if the demon envoy's soul was injured because the blood-sucking fiend beast was swallowed and his strength was greatly reduced, he was still around the middle stage of the first transformation, second layer of hell. Is Ling Xiao his opponent? Speculations continued to form among the people, but whether or not Ling Xiao killed the demon envoy was not important, because as long as one was not blind, one could see that this time it was Ling Xiao who saved the blood pigs. He destroyed the blood-sucking array and saved the 8 Immortal City. This was a true hero. However, at this moment, Ling Xiao was suddenly grabbed by the neck by a black shadow. It was the Sand Eagle. After the demon envoy died, the blood fog array naturally disappeared, and he and Qin Fengxiao escaped. Although Qin Fengxiao frowned slightly, he did not do anything. However, the Sand Eagle was very angry and wanted to deal with Ling Xiao. "Bastard, if you had saved us earlier, the demon envoy would have been killed long ago. You greedy bastard. Do you want to take all the credit for yourself?" Ling Xiao was grabbed by the Sand Eagle and felt that the internal force in his body seemed to be imprisoned. Chapter 2299. Ling Xiao's neck was being gripped by the Sand Eagle, and he could die at any moment. This was an extremely dangerous situation. The slumbering Yuan Venerate woke up. The playful butterfly lady also looked outside. They were ready to help Ling Xiao get rid of this fellow who might threaten Ling Xiao's life. However, at that moment, Lin Ruoxian appeared. "Sand Eagle, how dare you? I am in the middle of a live broadcast. I really don't know what people will think if they see your ugly face." She looked at the Sand Eagle with disdain, feeling even more disgusted by him. Compared to Ling Xiao, the Sand Eagle was simply worthless. Apart from the fact that his cultivation base was slightly higher than Ling Xiao's, he could not compare to Ling Xiao in any other aspect. "I don't care. I will kill anyone who dares to mock me." Perhaps he was used to being arrogant and despotic. Coupled with the fact that Lin Ruoxian had come out to speak up for Ling Xiao, the Sand Eagle became even more irritable. He exerted more strength in his hands, as if he wanted to crush Ling Xiao's neck. Lin Ruoxian was about to make a move when a sword light suddenly shot over from afar and pierced straight at the Sand Eagle. If the Sand Eagle wanted to kill Ling Xiao, his body would definitely be pierced by the sword light. He had no choice but to dodge. The Sand Eagle did not know that he had actually narrowly escaped death. If Ling Xiao had not wanted to borrow the power of a Yuan Venerate and the Butterfly Lady for the time being, the Sand Eagle would have died long ago. However, now that he had narrowly escaped death, he was immediately put on Ling Xiao's death list. Ling Xiao would never show mercy to those who tried to kill him. Jian Lufeng. Lin Ruoxian and the Sand Eagle both looked at the owner of the sword light. It was actually Jian Lufeng from the Sword Tribe, one of the 8 great families of the 8 Immortal Mountain. Not only was this person stronger than the Sand Eagle, but he also had a better character. Therefore, he was very famous in the 8 Immortal Mountain. Sand Eagle, Don't you know that he has already become the hero of the entire 8 Immortal County? Kill him now. Even your Sand Race's patriarch can't save you." Jian Lufeng looked at Sand Eagle coldly and said, "I am under the orders of the sect master to stop you from doing such a foolish thing." "Damn it!" Sand Eagle coldly looked at Ling Xiao. He knew that with Jian Lufeng and Lin Ruoxian protecting Ling Xiao, it was impossible for him to kill Ling Xiao. Cursing under his breath, he turned around and left. After the demon envoy died, the entrance outside naturally opened. In a moment, there would definitely be more people coming in. He did not want to lose face. "Thank you for saving my life, Brother Ling. We'll meet again." Chen Feng glanced at Ling Xiao with a smile, narrowed his eyes, and left. Although this person seemed to have a good attitude, his smile was fake no matter how one looked at it. It gave people an extremely uncomfortable feeling. It was completely putting on an act. Ling Xiao ignored him and looked at Ling Jiao Jiao. "Sister Jiao Jiao, it's time to go back. Yuhua Town's Ling clan is still waiting for you to preside over the situation. Ling Yuhua, that old fellow, was really sad that you were captured. This is the first time I saw him so emotional. That old fellow is gradually becoming an emotional animal, and is no longer a cold-blooded animal. No matter what, he is still a grandfather. You don't have to be so harsh." Ling Jiao Jiao shook her head and smiled bitterly. She naturally did not want to correct Ling Xiao's words. She was just helpless. Ling Xiao had let Ling Xiao down. He couldn't blame Ling Xiao for not respecting him. Let's not talk about him. Black and white heroes will meet again. Ling Xiao was not willing to talk about Ling Yuhua. Instead, he looked at Feng Huan and Wang Cheng and cupped his hands. "And we'll meet again." Feng Huan and Wang Cheng originally thought that this trip to the underground city would be a trip of despair, filled with tragedy and misery. The chances of rescuing their daughter were extremely low. Even if they could be rescued, they would definitely die. However, the current situation was that they were not dead. Their daughter and son were also very safe. And all of this was because of Ling Xiao. Because of this mysterious and unpredictable young man. They brought their daughter and met up with Wang Peng, who had just woken up from her coma. They were about to leave. As for those sanguine pigs, they also bade farewell to Ling Xiao. From today onwards, they were no longer sanguine pigs. They were real humans, martial artists. The humiliating title was about to bid farewell to them. "Young hero Ling, if you have any instructions in the future, just let us know. We aren't very capable, but we aren't afraid of death." They bade farewell to Ling Xiao and left. Only Wang Peng and the rest were left. Wang Peng walked to Ling Xiao's side and whispered, "Young hero Ling, you have to be careful of Qin Feng Xiao and that idiot. When they saw you in danger, not only did they not help, they even knocked me out." "Thank you for the reminder." Ling Xiao patted Wang Peng's shoulder lightly and said, "Cultivate well. If you really have no place to go, go to Yuhua Town. The Ling family will take you in." These words were said to Wang Peng and also to those martial artists who had just been released. If Ling Xiao wanted to expand his strength, he had to strengthen the Ling family of Yuhua Town. With these people and families, although the Ling family of Yuhua Town still couldn't be compared to the 8 Immortal Mountain and the Tianfeng group, it would definitely reach the level of the 3 major families. "We understand. Goodbye." Feng Huan, Wang Cheng, and Wang Peng finally left. At this moment, Ling Xiao looked at Lin Ruoxian and said, "Deacon Ruoxian, thank you for your help. Actually, I didn't do much. I just announced your heroic deeds to the public. The one who saved you from the idiot was this person." Lin Ruoxian pointed at Jian Lufeng, warning Ling Xiao with his eyes that this Jian Lufeng was extraordinary and must be dealt with carefully. Ling Xiao naturally knew that this Jian Lufeng wasn't simple. To be able to make the idiot retreat in the face of difficulties with a single sword, this person's strength was imaginable. He was also an expert with the sword, so he clearly knew how powerful this Jian Lufeng was. Even though he was just standing there, his body still emitted a terrifying sharpness, as if he was a sharp divine weapon, constantly maintaining a terrifying sword intent. This person wasn't just stronger than the idiot, he was much stronger. Even if he didn't know that this person was a member of the 8 Immortal Mountain, he must be a very powerful person. To be honest, Ling Xiao had seen someone stronger than this Jian Lufeng, and that madman Mo Feiyu was the only one. Even Lin Ruoxian couldn't be compared to him. Thank you, senior brother Jian Lufeng, for saving my life. Ling Xiao still knew how to say polite words. No matter what, objectively speaking, Jian Lufeng did help him. Jian Lufeng still had that indifferent expression as he looked at Ling Xiao coldly and said, "To be honest, your performance really surprised me. You were able to save so many blood pigs. You were also able to kill the demon envoy, destroy the blood-sucking array, and even Qin Feng Xiao and the idiot were saved by you. However, if a person's cultivation isn't enough, he will suffer if he stands out too much." Chapter 2300. Jian Liufeng's self-righteous and arrogant words caused Ling Xiao's good impression of him to instantly drop. Anyway, he hated such self-righteous people the most. They always like to put themselves in the position of an elder or a teacher. Hee, I don't need an outsider to point out my martial path. Ling Xiao laughed and said, "It's true that you saved me, but it doesn't mean that I should be casually reprimanded by you." Jian Lufeng sneered and said, "If it weren't for your ability, I wouldn't have bothered to say another word to you. Do you really think of yourself as a hero? In the eyes of the 8 great families, you're just a despicable person who is good at currying favor. Humph, I'm here today, specially for Ling Jiaojiao." As he spoke, Jian Lufeng looked at Ling Jiaojiao and said, "Ling Jiaojiao, congratulations. You've become a specially recruited candidate of our sword tribe." When he said this, Jian Lufeng still had an arrogant look on his face. It was as if as long as the sword tribe said it, others had to accept it. They couldn't even question it, let alone reject it. "Sorry, I'm not interested." Ling Jiaojiao shook her head and said, "What?" Hearing this, Jian Lufeng thought that he had heard wrongly. There was actually someone who could reject the recruitment of one of the 8 great families of 8 Immortal Mountain? There was actually someone who dared to do so. Are you sure? Jian Lufeng revealed a dense killing intent. "You have the saber, sword divine, emperor martial soul. If you join our sword tribe, it will be extremely beneficial to your development. We think highly of you, so we came to recruit you. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Do you think that your brother Ling Xiao is very powerful? If you join our sword tribe, you can easily surpass him in less than a year. In our sword tribe, there are too many people who are more outstanding than him. Jiao Jiao, accept him." Ling Xiao suddenly said. To be honest, although Jian Lufeng was arrogant and rude, this was a common problem of those high and mighty great families. It wasn't a big problem. He didn't have any deep hatred with the sword tribe. If Ling Jiaojiao could join the sword tribe, it would be an extremely fortunate thing. How could he let Ling Jiaojiao reject such a good opportunity for him? "But Ling Xiao, I don't like the way he treats you." Ling Jiaojiao shook her head. "That's just a small matter. It's more important to learn the skills. Didn't you say that you want to protect me in the future?" Ling Xiao said with a smile. "But, no buts. If you ruin your great future because of me, it will make me carry a heavy mental burden." Ling Xiao shook his head and said, "Listen to me. Don't forget, you are the head of the Ling family. If you are not strong enough, how can you protect so many people in the Ling family in the future?" There was naturally a profound reason why he strongly recommended Ling Jiaojiao to join the sword race. One had to know that he had worked hard to become a disciple of the lower 8 Immortals Mountain. He wasn't even considered a disciple of the upper 8 Immortals Mountain. As long as Ling Jiaojiao joined the Jian clan, she would have a direct ticket to the 8 Immortal Mountain. Even the assessment was just a process. As long as one's cultivation reached a certain level, one could smoothly advance to the next level. Moreover, once she joined the sword race, regardless of whether it was resources or martial arts, she would be the best among her peers. Unlike the disciples of the lower 8 Immortals Mountain who had to look at other people's faces for a few pieces of lightning elemental jade. Can I let my brother, Ling Xiao, join the sword race as well? Ling Jiaojiao looked at Jian Lufeng and asked. Although Jian Lufeng gave her a lot of pressure, she still made this request in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. No. Jian Lufeng shook his head and said, Ling Xiao is a person who refuses to be disciplined and loves to be in the limelight. Our sword race will not accept him. However, you can rest assured that as long as you join the sword race and become a disciple of the sword race, your brother, Ling Xiao, will also benefit as long as he is within the 8 Immortals County. Our sword race will be able to help him. All right then, I agree to join the sword race. However, if there is anything that displeases me, I will immediately withdraw. Ling Jiaojiao said very clearly and seriously. Of course. Jian Liufeng's face turned ugly, and he was even more furious. What did Ling Jiaojiao take the sword race for? A clan that couldn't recruit disciples? A beggar that begged for food? If it wasn't for his family's secret order, he would have brought Ling Jiaojiao back no matter what. He really wanted to teach this arrogant girl a lesson. Jian Lufeng, you don't have to feel so wronged. The Sword Saber Divine Emperor Martial Soul is a special martial soul. My sister Jiao Jiao joining the sword race is your fortune. You can refuse to admit it now. However, many years later, you will understand that this grievance is nothing. Ling Xiao looked at Jian Lufeng and said indifferently. Jian Lufeng was unhappy with Ling Xiao's words. However, he had to admit that it was extremely rare to be able to recruit Ling Jiaojiao into the sword race. It's hard to say what will happen in the future. However, I can tell you with certainty that Ling Jiaojiao will not regret joining the sword race. Jian Lufeng said coldly. That's true. Ling Xiao smiled and said, How about this? I will return to the Yuhua town with Sister Jiaojiao to settle some family matters. After that, I will bring her back to the 8 Immortal Mountain. How about that? Up to you. However, you have to be careful. There are still many remnants of the Devil's Shadow sect. They now see you as a thorn in their side. There might be someone who will take the opportunity to attack you. Jian Lufeng glanced at Ling Xiao and said, Goodbye, Ling Jiaojiao. I will wait for you in the sword race. After saying that, he turned around and left, just like how he had come. Ling Xiao, Jian Lufeng is just like that. Don't mind him. Although the sword race didn't take a fancy to you, I believe that the 8 great families will take a fancy to you. With your strength, you will definitely be able to enter the 8 Immortal Mountain. After Jian Lufeng left, Lin Ruoxian said with a smile. She had witnessed the battle between Ling Xiao and the demon envoy. She knew how strong Ling Xiao was. Although he might not be as strong as the 2 geniuses, Desert Cloud and Akira, he was stronger than the others. Unless the 8 Immortal Mountain only required 2 people, Ling Xiao would definitely be able to enter. I will do my best. Ling Xiao nodded. Lin Ruoxian opened her mouth, wanting to say something. However, she didn't say anything in the end. This was because she knew that if she told Ling Xiao that the 8 Immortal Mountains assessment was unfair to ordinary disciples, it would definitely affect Ling Xiao's confidence. Therefore, she might as well not say it. Goodbye. You should go back and visit your family. Lin Ruoxian cupped her hands and turned to leave. Ling Xiao also left the underground city with Ling Jiaojiao and returned to Yuhua town. At this moment, Yuhua town was already decorated with lanterns and streamers. It was bustling with noise and excitement. Ling Yuhua, Old He, and the others were guarding outside. They had already learned some things from the blood pigs that had submitted to the Ling family. They knew that Ling Xiao and Ling Jiaojiao weren't dead and that they had eliminated the leader of the Shadow Devil sect in the 8 Immortal County. Shao! This old man was unfair to you in the past. Today I regret it. It's a pity that time can't be turned back. Let me make up for my past mistakes. However, even so, I still have to say that the Ling family is really fortunate to have you. You are also our greatest pride. Ling Yuhua looked at Ling Shao emotionally and said with tears streaming down his face, I'm nothing. Compared to me, Sister Jiao Jiao is more powerful. She has already received an invitation from the Sword Tribe. As long as she goes to report, she will officially become a disciple of the Sword Tribe, one of the 8 great families of the 8 Immortal Mountain. Chapter 2301. One was a great hero who destroyed the Devil Shadow sect and saved the people. The other was a genius who was directly recruited into the 8 Immortal Mountains Sword Tribe and became an elite. Ling Shao and Ling Zhaojiao's return caused Yuhua Town to become a sea of jubilation. The celebration had already lasted for a day and night, and the townspeople didn't seem to have any intention of stopping. However, Ling Shao was already prepared to return to the 8 Immortal Mountain. In Yuhua Town, he could get whatever he wanted. No one dared to go against him because he was the strongest here. It was really boring to be a monkey king in a mountain when the tiger was not around. What he wanted was continuous breakthroughs in the martial Dao, so he had to constantly welcome new challenges. He also wouldn't forget that he wanted to find the Moon Lady. The Eternal Palace was a mysterious and powerful place to him now. It was like an ant looking up to the heavens. If he wanted to truly step into the Eternal Palace, he had to become stronger. The current him was still too far away. In the dead of the night, many people were drunk. Ling Shao called Ling Yuhua and Old He to his room and carefully instructed them. Ling Yuhua was temporarily the Ling family head and continued to manage Yuhua Town. Then, Ling Shao and Ling Zhaojiu set off. When they arrived at the 8 Immortal City, the sky was already bright. What surprised Ling Shao was that Jian Lufeng was actually waiting for Ling Zhaojiao outside the city gates. This was enough to prove how important Ling Zhaojiao was to the Sword Tribe. Standing beside Jian Lufeng was Lin Ruoxian. He was also a famous figure. The appearance of the two people at the same time couldn't help but cause many passers-by to speculate. Jian Lufeng and Lin Ruoxian appeared at the same time. Could it be that they are welcoming some expert? When Ling Shao and Ling Zhaojiao appeared at the same time, the entire crowd was in an uproar. It's him, the hero who destroyed the Devil Shadow sect and saved the 8 Immortal City. Yes, that's right. It's Ling Shao. No wonder Jian Lufeng and Lin Ruoxian appeared. Only Ling Shao deserves such high treatment. But what's the background of that girl? She seems to be weak, only a half-step yin-yang realm cultivator. That should be the girl who awakened the saber and sword Shenhuang martial spirit. I think her name is Ling Zhaojiao, Ling Zhao's elder sister. TSK, Ascension Town's Ling family can finally hold their heads high this time. Impressive. There were those who praised him, but there were also those who poured cold water on him. A tall tree attracts the wind. Who knows what kind of disaster that Ling Shao will encounter? People who are too ostentatious usually don't live long. That's right. There's also that Ling Zhaojiao. She's merely a half-step yin-yang realm cultivator. She's nothing in the 8 Immortals County, let alone in the 8 Immortals Mountain. She's just a drop in the ocean, no matter what others said or did. Ling Shao and Ling Zhaojiao didn't care too much. Ling Shao was already used to being pointed at and gossiped about by others. He had been in the spotlight in the Heavenly Dragon Continent, the Divine Phoenix Continent, and the White Tiger Continent. All of them had once been the focus of attention of the people. This scene was nothing at all. Ling Zhaojiao was a little nervous, but she gradually calmed down after following Ling Shao. While everyone was discussing, Jian Lufeng opened the teleportation array to the 8 Immortals Mountain. I'm sorry, Ling Shao. You're not a disciple of the 8 Immortals Mountain yet, so you're not qualified to enter. Jian Lufeng glanced at Ling Xiao indifferently and said, "Of course I know, but it shouldn't be a problem for me to say a few words to my sister, right?" Ling Jiaojiao was different from Ling Xiao. She wasn't a reincarnation realm cultivator, so Ling Xiao was worried that she was too naive. Hence, he pulled her to the side and specially reminded her, "You've been chosen by the sword race as an exception. You'll definitely attract the jealousy of many people, especially the saber sword divine emperor martial soul that you've awakened. That's something that many people covet. After entering the sword race, not everything will be fine. You have to be careful. If you encounter any trouble, remember to look for me. Remember, no matter who the enemy is, you can tell me. No one can bully my Ling Zhao's relatives." Ling Jiaojiao was very clear that although she was Ling Zhao's sister in name, she was nothing compared to Ling Zhao's experience. Ling Zhao's words were definitely not wrong. "Don't worry, you're my only relative in the Eight Immortals Mountain. If I don't look for you, who else can I look for?" Ling Jiaojiao nodded and then stepped into the teleportation array. Ignorant. After Ling Jiaojiao left, Jian Lufeng, who was standing at the side, suddenly sneered and said, "Ling Xiao, don't think too highly of yourself." After joining the sword race, Ling Jiaojiao's enemies are all stronger than you. They're not people you can afford to offend. You just have to work hard and don't embarrass your sister. As for Jiaojiao's safety, I, Jian Lufeng, will naturally be responsible for it. It's not up to you to meddle in other people's business. Moreover, you can't do anything about it. After saying that, he also left. Looking at the teleportation array that was already closed, Ling Zhao's lips curled into a sneer. "It's just the Eight Immortals Mountain. Is there anything that I, Ling Xiao, can't do?" "Jian Lufeng, oh Jian Lufeng, let's wait and see." Ling Xiao, although Jian Liufeng's words are unpleasant to hear, to be honest, your current strength is definitely not enough to protect that girl, Lin Ruoxian reminded. Probably because he was worried that Ling Xiao would become arrogant and complacent because of the Shadow Devil sect. Lin Ruoxian's words could be said to be well-intentioned. "Don't worry, Deacon Ruoxian. I know better than anyone what strength means." Ling Xiao smiled and said, "Without strength, any solemn vow will become a joke and overestimation of one's capabilities. And with strength, any joke will become wisdom. It seems that I'm overthinking. You're more determined and calm than I thought," Lin Ruoxian said with a bitter smile. "Deacon Ruoxian seems to have forgotten that I'm a cultivator who has entered the reincarnation realm. The things that I've experienced are definitely not something that you can imagine. Therefore, I desire strength more than anyone else. Today, Jian Lufeng looked down on me. In the future, he won't even have the right to flatter me." Ling Xiao said coldly, "I'm really more and more curious about your past now." Lin Ruoxian looked at Ling Xiao in a daze. A crimson blush hung on her beautiful face. The domineering aura that was released from Ling Xiao's body from time to time dazzled her. "You'd better not be curious about my past. You'll die." Ling Xiao suddenly looked at Lin Ruoxian. His expression became incomparably cold. Soon after, he smiled and said, "I'm just joking. If I'm indebted to Deacon Ruoxian, I naturally won't do that. But if it's someone else, I won't be polite. If it's possible, when my cultivation recovers to the reincarnation realm, I'll personally tell you about my past. You've really scared me to death." Lin Ruoxian felt that she was still trembling with fear. The terrifying murderous aura that Ling Xiao released in an instant had actually frightened her, a disciple of the Upper Eight Immortal Mountain who was much stronger than him. Chapter 2302. By the way, Deacon Ruoxian, I'll be returning to Black Immortal Mountain. I'll take my leave first. Ling Xiao didn't return to Eight Immortal Mountain to flirt with anyone. He came to improve his strength. After returning, he planned to make some preparations before heading to the second floor of the ghost prison. According to the sect's rules, the first floor of the ghost prison was prepared for Yin-Yang realm cultivators who had reached the first floor of hell. In principle, the second floor of the ghost prison required one to reach the second floor of hell to enter. However, this was only in principle. If it was a reincarnation realm cultivator, there would definitely be an exception. The reason why he wanted to enter the second floor of the ghost prison was because he received a secret letter when he killed the demon envoy. No one else had seen this letter. Only he knew about it. The letter mentioned that there was a blood pool on the second floor of the ghost prison that could help the demon envoy fuse with the power of the blood-sucking demonic beast and then break through in cultivation to obtain even more terrifying power. Regardless of whether this was true or not, Ling Xiao planned to try. Now that he had relied on the Tyrant son of Heaven God to devour the blood-sucking demonic beast, he still needed a trick to completely fuse with the beast's power. This secret letter might be the key to unlocking this trick. Naturally, he wouldn't let it go so easily. Moreover, he didn't have a lot of contribution points at the moment. He only had 1,200 points, but there were many things he needed to exchange for. Killing prisoners and demonic beasts on the second floor of the ghost prison would give him more contribution points. He would just earn as much as he could. After returning to Black Immortal Mountain, Ling Xiao was surprised to find that his residence had been changed. The original straw hut had been replaced with a clean and spacious house. Although it wasn't as good as the manor of the 8 Immortal Mountain's disciples, it was several times better than before. This was naturally because his cultivation had increased. In any sect, the higher your cultivation, the better the treatment you would receive. Ling Xiao had been through this in the past, so he naturally understood now. Feng Ru was cultivating. Zhou Tong didn't dare to provoke Ling Xiao anymore. Ho Rin Feng was a martial arts fanatic. He was preparing for the 8 Immortal Mountains test with all his might. The Mountain Lord of Black Immortal Mountain was as mysterious as ever. He was still not on the mountain. With nothing to do, Ling Xiao headed straight for Ghost Prison. The most important thing now was to quickly convert the energy of the blood-sucking demonic beast in his body. Otherwise, it would not be a good thing to hide in the body of a tyrannical demonic beast. What's more, he was about to participate in the assessment of the 8 Immortal Mountain. If he could increase his strength 1 level at a time, it would count. At present, transforming the energy of the blood-sucking demonic beast was the most direct way to increase his strength. Outside the ghost prison, there was a hubbub of voices. The ghost prison's first level had a lot of people. It was probably because most of the 8 Immortal Mountain's disciples were below the first level of the Yin-Yang realm. When they reached the second floor of the ghost prison, the number of people decreased significantly. What Ling Xiao saw were all unfamiliar faces. It was said that this ghost prison had a total of 5 floors. The first layer corresponded to the first layer of hell. The second layer corresponded to the second layer of hell. The third layer corresponded to the third layer of hell, and so on. The higher they went, the stronger the prisoners and demonic beasts were. Ling Xiao didn't have the qualifications to go to the third level yet. Even if it was the second level, he had already received a lot of strange looks. Many people felt that he didn't have the qualifications to step into the second level of the ghost prison. Has the ghost prison become so easy to enter? A piece of trash at the first layer of hell dares to come up? That's right. Don't think that you're a hero just because you destroyed some insignificant sect. In fact, you're nothing. Perhaps in the eyes of most people in the 8 Immortal City, Ling Xiao was indeed a hero. However, in the eyes of these proud disciples of the 8 Immortals Mountain, Ling Xiao was just a greedy and shameless bastard who overestimated himself. These proud fellows were jealous of Ling Xiao, so they didn't have a good impression of Ling Xiao. At this moment, a disciple wearing a scarlet robe appeared in front of Ling Xiao. His cold face revealed a sinister intent. Advanced stage of the second layer of hell of the Yin-Yang realm? Ling Xiao glanced at the person in front of him and knew that he should be an outstanding disciple of the Scarlet Immortal Mountain. At the very least, he was much stronger than the group of people who participated in the first level of the ghost prison. To be honest, his cultivation wasn't bad. However, it was a pity that he wasn't even a rank 1 martial artist. He thought too highly of himself if he wanted to find trouble with Ling Xiao with such a cultivation. Stop. The second level of the ghost prison is reserved for Miss Akira today. Unless you're a disciple of the Scarlet Immortal Mountain, no one is allowed to enter. That person looked coldly at Ling Xiao and said, "Get lost." Ling Xiao couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with this lackey and said directly, "What did you say?" That person was stunned. He didn't expect Ling Xiao to speak to him in such a manner. He was a little surprised. "I asked you to get lost." Ling Xiao lifted his head and said plainly, "You're asking for a beating." That person was a martial artist at the second layer of hell of the Yin-Yang realm. Although he wasn't a rank 1 martial artist, he was still a reputable person in the Scarlet Immortal Mountain. How could he tolerate Ling Xiao's impudence? He immediately raised his fist and punched at Ling Xiao. Nether Ghost Claw Yiksha! Ling Xiao's left hand instantly turned into a sharp claw. He had used the Nether Ghost Claw that he had obtained from the elemental hand. Originally, this set of martial skill was a mid-grade jade martial skill, like the meteor sword skill. However, Ling Xiao practiced it because it was very suitable for the transformation of the sun god martial spirit. The first move of the Nether Ghost Claw was used. The huge claw emitted a dense black gas, and the ferocious appearance of a yiksha appeared. Ling Xiao hadn't practiced this move for a long time and hadn't used it before. Therefore, it was only at the proficient level. Even so, the claw still managed to cripple one of his opponent's arms. The arm was entangled by the black gas and was instantly corroded into bones. "Get lost!" Ling Xiao withdrew his hand and shouted coldly, "If you don't get lost, I'll kill you!" That person was terrified. He turned around and ran, but he accidentally bumped into someone. "Miss." Ling Xiao also looked at this so-called Mississippi. Wasn't she Qi Yenner's elder sister Akira? How impressive. Akira looked coldly at Ling Xiao and said, "I'm not as impressive as you. You want to monopolize the second floor of the ghost prison." Ling Xiao retorted, "That's because I have the strength." Akira sneered and said, "Don't think that others will never know what you've done. My poor sister, you killed her, right?" Ling Xiao didn't answer. He knew that this matter would be exposed sooner or later, so he didn't intend to explain. "It seems that you don't intend to explain." Akira said coldly, "If that's the case, don't blame me for being impolite. I'm not a trash like Qi Yenner who only knows how to follow behind men. Are you done? Can I enter the second floor of the ghost prison?" Ling Xiao looked indifferently at Akira and said. His words instantly stirred up a wave in the crowd. Is this Ling Xiao crazy? Akira clearly wants to deal with him. Entering the second floor of the ghost prison at this time? Is he courting death? Chapter 2303. To Ling Xiao, the slander and sarcasm in the crowd were nothing more than barking. He did not care at all. Just like when he offended Sha Hai, many people said that he was doomed, but in the end he returned victorious. "You have guts. I can give you a chance to enter the second floor of the ghost prison, but whether you can come out alive depends on whether you have the ability." Akira sneered and stepped aside to open the path to the second floor of the ghost prison. "Of course I have the ability." Ling Xiao walked to the second floor of the ghost prison without hesitation. Although Akira was much stronger than Qi Yen, and even stronger than Sha Hai, he did not have the ability to suppress Sha Hai. However, as long as there was no absolute strength that could overwhelm him, he would not be afraid. "By the way, Ling Xiao, I almost forgot to tell you. Do you still remember Sha Hai?" Just as he took 2 steps, Akira's mocking laughter came from behind him. "Of course he was defeated by me." Ling Xiao answered confidently. "Don't think that you can defeat him a second time, just because you defeated him once. Let me tell you, Shahai not only broke through to the first transformation, second level of hell, but also became a disciple of the upper 8 immortals. You won't have a good life after offending him. You think it's over, but it's just the beginning. Akira sneered. No matter how talented you are, you're just a lowly person from a remote town. You don't have the right to compare with Shahai, who has noble blood. So you're planning to throw yourself into Shahai's arms? Ling Xiao turned around and smiled. Hearing this, many people in the crowd almost could not hold back their laughter. Akira's admiration for Shahai was a bit like his sister, becoming Shahai's new lover. Akira's face turned cold, but then he smiled. So what? Shahai is not someone you can compare to in terms of strength or status. As the saying goes, a fine bird chooses a tree to nest in. Isn't it normal for me to like him? It's normal. Ling Xiao smiled and said, if he wants to enjoy this blessing, then it's best that he doesn't provoke me. Otherwise, I guarantee that he won't have a chance to resurrect. After saying that, Ling Xiao stepped into the second floor of the ghost prison. Akira looked in the direction where Ling Xiao had disappeared and gritted his teeth. Brat, you won't be able to run rampant for long. I don't dare to kill you outside. After all, you're a hero. But once you enter the ghost prison, you can't blame me if you die. You really don't deserve to be an enemy of the desert sea. Let's go too. After saying that, Akira waved her hand, indicating for the other disciples to follow her into the second floor of the ghost prison. After they left, the crowd outside was still discussing. Ling Xiao was lucky enough to beat the desert last time. I didn't expect him to become so arrogant. He doesn't even care about Akira. That's right. He'll pay the price for his arrogance very soon. Of course, Ling Xiao wouldn't hear these people's discussions, but he could guess. Their mouths were on their bodies. No matter what they said, it wouldn't affect him. What he needed to do now was to continue increasing his strength. If he faced the desert sea for the second time, he naturally had to achieve a crushing victory. Only then would the desert sea completely give up. This would make Akira completely terrified. The strongest prisoners and demonic beasts in the first floor of the ghost prison were only at the early stage of the second floor of the Yin-Yang realm. Yuan Ning was an exception. The strongest prisoners and demonic beasts in the second floor of the ghost prison were at the early stage of the third floor of the Yin-Yang realm. Of course, there would only be one of these prisoners and demonic beasts. They would usually be released during the trial. Under normal circumstances, the prisoners and demonic beasts in the second floor of the ghost prison were ordinary prisoners and demonic beasts in the second floor of the ghost prison. Demonic beasts wouldn't reincarnate, but they could evolve. A 1-star demonic beast was equivalent to a first revolution martial artist. At most, it could evolve to a 10-star state, which was equivalent to a martial artist with 10 reincarnations. It could be said that it was quite dangerous for Ling Xiao to enter the second floor of the ghost prison alone. However, with the Tai Chi Eye, he could completely avoid danger. He avoided enemies that he couldn't deal with and specifically picked the weakest ones. Moreover, from the entrance to the deepest part, the strength of the enemies would change gradually. Unless something unexpected happened, as long as you didn't rashly enter, you wouldn't be in too much danger. This was a man-made area. Unless it was during the trial, those strong fellows wouldn't come to the outer area to cause trouble. They were all confined within a certain area by the formation. The most important thing to do after entering the second floor of the ghost prison was to find the blood pool. As for killing the prisoners and demonic beasts here to earn contribution points, that was secondary. Along the way, Ling Xiao met many 8 Immortal Mountain disciples who were earning contribution points in the second floor of the ghost prison. It seemed that the group of people from the Scarlet Immortal Mountain was deliberately finding trouble with him and didn't really seal the entrance to the second floor of the ghost prison. Thinking about it, Akira didn't have the guts and strength to do so. After all, the deacons of the second floor of the ghost prison were all extremely powerful existences. Ling Xiao basically wouldn't greet strangers when he met them. He had his own goals and would naturally go straight to them. He didn't care about anything else. Ling Xiao, don't you think that this ghost prison is a little strange? Yuan Venerate's voice was suddenly heard. I think so too. This ghost prison should be a special spatial treasure. Furthermore, it is very likely that it is the key to the foundation of the 8 Immortal Mountain. The Shan Dian also took the opportunity to express his opinion. Great minds think alike. The sects of the present era either have an extremely powerful ancestral master or are built on the foundation of extremely powerful ruins or the treasures of powerhouses. I suspect that the martial souls of the 8 great families of the 8 Immortal Mountain were plundered from this ghost prison. Ling Xiao lamented. It's a pity that we were a step too late. I reckon that we won't even get to drink the soup. At the very least, there isn't any other special place on the first floor of the ghost prison apart from the lava field. There might only be one blood pool on the second floor of the ghost prison. I actually found out about this through the secret letter of the demon envoy. Qing Feiying? Ling Xiao was chatting with the Yuan Venerate and Xin Dian while searching for the whereabouts of the blood pool. However, he happened to see a familiar figure fighting a terrifying beast about a mile away from where he was. This person was Cheng Feiying. Cheng Feiying's cultivation base had already broken through to the early stages of the first revolution, Yin Yang's second level. Of course, Cheng Feiying wasn't the only one fighting. Besides her, there were dozens of other people whose cultivation bases were actually comparable to Cheng Feiying's. They should all be disciples of the Orange Immortal Mountain with a cultivation base at the second level of hell. The huge beast they were facing had a cultivation base at the mid-stage of the first star second level of hell. Its combat strength was extremely formidable. Even though dozens of people were besieging it, they still couldn't take it down. Chapter 2304. Ling Xiao had no intention of interfering in other people's business. He went around and went straight to the blood pool. Near the blood pool, there was a strong prisoner guarding. He was soaking in the blood pool and seemed to be absorbing the energy in the blood pool. Seeing Ling Xiao appear, a contemptuous smile appeared in his eyes. Here comes another one to die. Kid, get lost. I'm in a good mood today and have no intention of killing. You can leave now. The prisoner waved his hand as if he was chasing away a mosquito. Ling Xiao did not talk nonsense with him. The prisoner's cultivation was in the middle stage of the second level of hell, but he was not a reincarnation realm martial artist. He was not afraid at all. Using the moonlight meteor steps, he turned into a bolt of lightning and fell into the blood pool. After that, the prisoner's eyes popped out. Even until his death, he did not know how he died. He did not look like a strong opponent. How could he be crippled in one move? It did not matter if he did not understand. Ling Xiao did not need him to understand. He threw the corpse out and dived into the blood pool. In the blood pool, energy surged, and there was an incomparable smell of blood. An ordinary martial artist would not be able to withstand such an aura. However, Ling Xiao had the killing god White Blade martial spirit. What kind of mountain of corpses had he not seen before? How could he be frightened by the smell of blood in the blood pool? He immersed himself in it and soon entered a state of cultivation. The blood-sucking demonic beast in his body seemed to come alive when it saw the fresh blood. However, it was suppressed by the tyrannical martial spirit and could only transfer its energy into Ling Xiao's body. Ling Xiao could feel that the gate to the second level of hell was slowly opening as the energy of the blood-sucking demonic beast was being absorbed. Unlike the first opening, the opening this time around was much more difficult. Moreover, the energy released from the gate to hell that disturbed cultivation was stronger than before. Ling Xiao had to deal with it carefully to prevent himself from going berserk. At the same time, the blood in the blood pool was decreasing as if it was being consumed. By the time the second layer of Hell's Gate was half open, the blood pool had completely dried up. Ling Xiao could not help but sigh. In the end, he was still a little lacking. Looking at the gate to the second level of hell that had yet to fully open, He slowly stood up. If it was a demon envoy, I'm afraid he would have already succeeded in breaking through. But for me to break through, I need a lot more materials than others. This was probably the price of being stronger than others every time he made a breakthrough. The heavens are indeed fair. But now, even without a breakthrough, Ling Xiao's strength was still much stronger than before. He stood up and prepared to look around to see if there were any other pools of blood on the second floor of the ghost prison. If there was another similar blood pool, then he would be able to break through. Just as he was about to leave, he noticed Cheng Feiying standing not too far away. She was holding her weapon and looking around vigilantly. It was obvious that he was protecting her. "Miss Feiying, why are you being so nice to this guy? He offended someone from the sand race. Sooner or later, he won't have a good ending. Don't get implicated." Voices of objection came from the crowd. "That's right, Miss Feiying. This kid actually ran to the second floor of the ghost prison alone. He's tired of living. If he doesn't want to live, why are you protecting him?" Someone else said, "Shut up, all of you. This is my business. If you don't want to stay, then move on and do what you should do." Cheng Feiying shouted coldly. Hearing this, Ling Xiao was a little touched. He had set up a formation to protect himself when he was cultivating in the blood pool. Even if there was no one to protect him, nothing would happen. But he was really grateful for Cheng Feiying's kindness. He lifted his foot and walked over. This time, he took a closer look at the people with Cheng Feiying. The oldest was only 20 years old, and the youngest was only 16 or 17. But their cultivations were all at the second level of hell of the Yin-Yang realm. Some of them were even reincarnation realm martial artists. They were probably the backbone of Orange Immortal Mountain, not the brats who participated in the trial on the first floor of the ghost prison. "Miss Feiying, thank you for your kindness. I've finished my cultivation." Ling Xiao's voice sounded. Cheng Feiying turned her head. At first, she looked pleasantly surprised, but then she complained, "Do you know where this is? This is the second floor of the ghost prison. If you cultivate like this, you'll easily lose your life." Although her voice was stern, Ling Xiao could hear the concern in it. He smiled and said, "Ling Xiao has learned his lesson. I won't dare to do this again." "That's more like it." Cheng Feiying couldn't help but laugh. "You don't seem to be someone who accepts mistakes so easily. Why have you changed?" "Because I have a good impression of you," Ling Xiao said with a smile. He didn't know that while he was talking and laughing with Cheng Feiying, the disciples of Orange Immortal Mountain were gnashing their teeth in jealousy. In Orange Immortal Mountain, Cheng Feiying was like a goddess. If the person who pursued Cheng Feiying was a disciple of Upper 8 Immortal Mountain, they would accept it because they were inferior to others. But what was Ling Xiao? He was just a disciple of Black Immortal Mountain, ranked last in Lower 8 Immortal Mountain. They looked down on him. "When did you become so glib-tongued?" Cheng Feiying blushed. She felt a little regretful when she thought about how her grandfather had promised to marry Ling Xiao and later broke the engagement. In fact, Ling Xiao was much more powerful than Desert Cloud. Her grandfather was also frightened by the name of the Sand Clan. "I'm just telling the truth." "How is that glib-tongued?" Ling Xiao couldn't help but shake his head and smile bitterly. "Okay, let's not talk about this. I see that you don't have any helpers. Why don't you come with us? The second floor of the ghost prison is different from the first floor. There are dangers everywhere. The more people, the better." Cheng Feiying took the initiative to suggest. Ling Xiao thought about it. Cheng Feiying had protected him before. If he didn't agree, he wouldn't be giving her face. In front of so many people, Cheng Feiying wouldn't be able to back down. Besides, this trip was indeed dangerous. If he could join forces with Cheng Feiying, he might be able to go further. Thinking of this, he nodded and said, "Okay. Miss Feiying has such good intentions. If I don't agree, it would be unappreciative of me." Cheng Feiying smiled and said, "I was worried that you would refuse." "Don't worry, we won't be a burden to you. These are all experts." Each of them stepped into the second floor of hell before I did. Miss Faying, I'm afraid this isn't appropriate. If such a person comes with us, he will be a burden. Among the crowd of Orange Immortal Mountain, there were people who were mad with jealousy of Ling Xiao. Chapter 2305. Cheng Feiying said faintly, Ling Xiao saved me and dozens of Orange Immortal Mountain disciples in the last ghost prison trial. His strength is beyond doubt. Why would he cause trouble for us? The last trial was on the first floor of the ghost prison. This time, it's on the second floor. Besides, we have our own matters to attend to. It's not appropriate to let an outsider get involved, is it? That's right. We're all earthly and jade geniuses. This kid is nothing. Even if he's our benefactor, we can't compromise like this. What's the point of bringing a burden along? Another person said. Cheng Feiying's expression became very awkward. Those people who looked down on Ling Xiao were the same as looking down on her. Cheng Feiying's taste. To her, it was a humiliation. Moreover, her friend was slandered and looked down on by her own people. It made her feel guilty. I'm sorry, Ling Xiao. I didn't expect this. Cheng Feiying knew that she had been too reckless and lacked thought. It's not your fault. There are too many people who look down on others. There's nothing I can do. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. After experiencing too many similar things, Ling Xiao had long been indifferent to it. He wouldn't get angry over such a small matter. It would be his own fault if he got angry. However, his words caused the people from the Orange Immortal Mountain to be utterly exasperated. One of the hot-tempered burly men jumped out and pointed at Ling Xiao's nose, scolding, Kid, for Miss Feiying's sake, I'll let you go if you crawl under my crotch today. Otherwise, I'll beat you up and show you who's boss. Ling Xiao chuckled and walked over. He suddenly attacked, punching the 2-meter-tall burly man until he bent over. Then he punched the man's back with both fists, easily knocking him to the ground and immobilizing him. He sat on the man's body and said with a smile, Cheng Feiying is my friend Ling Xiao. If you dare insult her taste, I won't hold back. This scene shocked many disciples of Orange Immortal Mountain. The burly man's strength was only below average among them. However, he was easily beaten to the ground by Ling Xiao. This was enough to prove that Ling Xiao's strength was extremely terrifying. Now, does anyone still say that he'll be a burden? Cheng Feiying said coldly, We have a mission on the second floor of the ghost prison. But if we join Ling Xiao, not only will our combat power not be reduced, but it will also increase our power. Moreover, I'm the commander of this mission. Do you want to disobey my orders? Originally, she did not want to use her power to oppress others. After all, they were all disciples of the Orange Immortal Mountain. However, these people did not put her in their eyes, which made her very dissatisfied. If a tiger did not show its might, did they really think that she was a sick cat? Hearing Cheng Feiying's words, everyone came back to their senses. They were not afraid of Ling, they were Cheng Feiying, of course. However, he absolutely could not go against the orders of the Orange Immortal Mountain. Otherwise, once he left the second level of the ghost prison, he would die without a burial ground. Since then, they did not say a word and allowed Cheng Feiying to make the decision. However, a few of them cast hateful glances at Ling Xiao. Clearly, they already hated him. Ling Xiao returned their cold killing intent without hesitation. They quickly lowered their heads in fear. In the end, Ling Xiao was just a young man in his teens. Even though they had already reincarnated once, the youths were still full of vigor and vigor, young and frivolous. If they were not wild when they were young, they would naturally regret it when they were old. Sai, looking at you reminds me of the top genius of 8 Immortal Mountain. Perhaps only he can compete with you. Cheng Feiying and Ling Xiao walked at the front of the group. The two of them were still chatting happily. Oh, who is that person? Ling Xiao already had an answer in his heart. However, he still wanted to ask to confirm it. Cheng Feiying sighed and said, "That person's name has now become a taboo of 8 Immortal Mountain. However, I can tell you that his name is Ling Yan." It really is him. Ling Xiao thought to himself. Among the geniuses of 8 Immortal Mountain, apart from you, I really can't see anyone who can compare with him. Rumor has it that Ling Yan was once a disciple of Black Immortal Mountain. Later, he was promoted to 8 Immortal Mountain and rose through the ranks. Relying on his terrifying cultivation speed, he finally defeated the 8 great families and became the sect master of 8 Immortal Mountain. Unfortunately, Sai, let's not talk about what happened later. It's all recorded in the sect's archives. Cheng Feiying sighed and said, "Compared to Ling Yan, whether it's Desert Cloud or Akira, they are not even worth mentioning." "Oh, it sounds like you admire Ling Yan a lot?" Ling Xiao asked with a smile. "Of course. Ling Yan can be said to be the strongest sect master in the history of 8 Immortal Mountain. He is the only one who has cultivated to the rebirth realm. Don't you think he is strong?" The more Cheng Feiying spoke, the more excited she became. Perhaps it was because of her trust in Ling Xiao that she didn't have any misgivings. His latent talent is incredible. I'm afraid he's already an immortal ranked genius. In the 8 Immortals County, and perhaps even in the Black Tortoise Continent, that's the highest level of latent talent. In any case, I've never heard of anyone with godly ranked latent talent. Before entering the cycle of reincarnation, he was already in the life-seizing level at the age of 15. How terrifying is that? Back then, there was no one on 8 Immortals Mountain who could match him in terms of cultivation base. If it weren't for the fact that he didn't want to rebel and was grateful to 8 Immortals Mountain for raising him, they would have long since taken his surname. After all, he could single-handedly destroy 8 Immortals Mountain. Ling Xiao couldn't help but sigh. Apparently, Ling Yan had kept a low profile in the Ling clan in Ascension Town because he didn't want to be noticed by 8 Immortals Mountain. Moreover, the command medallion Ling Yan had given him was only that of an ordinary disciple of 8 Immortals Mountain. It didn't bear Ling Yan's personal mark. Ling Xiao had found it strange at the time, assuming that Ling Yan was hiding something from him. Now that he thought about it, it was clear that Ling Yan was afraid of getting him into trouble. That's why he didn't do it. He had put a lot of thought into it. This person's latent talent could indeed be considered an immortal ranked genius. He was on the same level as Tianhai Tyrannical Ambition and Feng Fei. Since he's already reached that level of cultivation, there shouldn't be any reason for him to stay in this tiny 8 Immortals County, right? Ling Xiao asked curiously. I'm not too sure about the specifics. Rumors say that Ling Yan stayed because of the 8 magical treasures of the 8 great clans. Those 8 magical treasures not only have powerful effects, but also come with the 8 strongest martial arts of 8 Immortals Mountain. They're the foundation of 8 Immortals Mountain. Cheng Feiying explained. How laughable. With his cultivation base, he could just take any magical treasure by force. Why go through all that trouble? Ling Xiao said disdainfully. I think so too. I'm afraid there's a huge secret involved here. It's a pity that Ling Yan no longer has a chance to clear his name. Cheng Feiying sighed. What do you mean? Ling Xiao asked curiously. Chapter 2306. I'll tell you, but don't tell anyone. Cheng Feiying said in a low voice. Don't worry. I, Ling Xiao, am a tight-lipped person. How could I leak this information for no reason? Ling Xiao shook his head. Actually, I heard from my grandfather that the 8 Immortals Mountain has been searching for Ling Yan's whereabouts since he entered the samsara cycle. Later, they found a youth with the same name in Ascension Town. Although they couldn't be completely sure, the sect would rather kill 10,000 innocents than let one go. They secretly captured that youth and locked him up on the 5th floor of the ghost prison, which is also known as the Abominable Cage. The strongest prisoners and terrifying Yao beasts are locked up there. Even among the disciples of the 8 Immortals Mountain, very few dared to enter. Cheng Feiying replied. Hearing this, Ling Xiao couldn't help but reveal a hint of dissatisfaction. This made Cheng Feiying suddenly recall Ling Xiao's identity. She couldn't help but feel regret. Oh no, I forgot that you're also a member of the Ling clan of Ascension Town. How could you not know Ling Yan? Don't worry, I'm not that stupid. With my current strength, entering the abominable cage is tantamount to suicide. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Although I'm an impulsive person, I'm not stupid. This matter naturally needs to be considered at length. He wasn't trying to placate Cheng Feiying, but was speaking the truth. With his current strength, let alone the abominable cage, he couldn't even pass the 3rd or 4th floor of the ghost prison. There was no way he could save Ling Yan. However, Ling Yan had only been imprisoned, not killed. This meant that some people of the 8 Immortals Mountain wanted to obtain some secret from him. As long as they couldn't obtain it, Ling Yan wouldn't die. He still had time. In the Black Tortoise Continent, Ling Xiao didn't have many friends. Ling Yan was definitely one of them. No matter what, he couldn't let his good brother suffer in the 5th floor of the ghost prison for too long. If an ant wants to overturn the heavens, it first needs to become stronger. Ling Xiao smiled. Although he was worried, he would never put on a frown. He also wouldn't let his heavy heart affect his cultivation. In any case, doing that would not help in rescuing Ling Yan, so he might as well improve his strength. According to the layout of the 2nd floor of the ghost prison, the prisoners and demonic beasts we encounter from here onwards will be extremely dangerous for us. So, everyone, stay alert and protect yourselves. I'm not as strong as you. If you really encounter danger, I won't be able to help you. After walking for about 10 minutes, Cheng Feiying suddenly stopped. She turned around and said to the disciples of the Orange Immortal Mountain. A solemn and serious expression appeared on everyone's face. The 2nd floor of the ghost prison was still very dangerous for martial artists of the 2nd floor of hell. They could not afford to be careless. Miss Feiying, if something happens, we won't have the time to protect that Ling Xiao. Don't blame us for that. Suddenly, a rather handsome young man with a red mole between his eyebrows spoke up. When Ling Xiao heard this, he found it laughable. With this kid's strength, he wanted to protect him? Don't you understand the concept of unity? If you don't want to help him, he won't help you when you encounter danger later. Cheng Feiying was so angry that she had a headache. These people were too arrogant. They obviously weren't that strong, but they were all looking up to the sky. No need. Many people on the other side shouted. Ling Xiao smiled and looked at Cheng Feiying. Miss Feiying, you heard them. They said there's no need. If I don't help later, you can't blame me. He wasn't the kind of person who would only repay evil with good. Others hated and detested him so much. So why should he ask for a rebuff? He just needed to protect Cheng Feiying later. Why would I blame you? Protect yourself later. This place is very dangerous for all of us. Don't worry, I won't let you face danger alone. Just stay by my side. Cheng Feiying didn't think that she was stronger than Ling Xiao. She just thought that among these people, she was the only one who would help Ling Xiao. Therefore, Ling Xiao was naturally the safest to stay with her. By the way, I haven't asked you what mission you're going to carry out. Ling Xiao couldn't be bothered with other people's gazes. The only reason he was still walking with these people was because of Cheng Feiying. This girl was affectionate and righteous. He couldn't be heartless. Besides, following Cheng Feiying this time, he had also received news about Ling Yan. This was considered a big gain. Miss Feiying, you can't tell that guy. He must be thinking about our mission. That's right. Miss Feiying, don't be fooled by this kid. He's just a little more handsome. Shut up, all of you. You can't control who I tell, and you have no right to control. Cheng Feiying had been able to patiently explain to these people before, but now she couldn't even be bothered to explain. She just shouted back at them. These people were simply asking for a beating. They were too hateful. Ling Xiao, ignore them. They've been sitting at the bottom of a well for too long. They don't know how fast the outside world is developing. Also, you might not know this, but the sect's publicity was a little problematic after the Spectre sect incident. Chang Feiying sighed and said the sect said that they've been eyeing the Spectre sect for a long time. They've already sent Chen Fengxiao and Xia Diao. They're just one step away from completing the mission, but you're eager to make a contribution. Not only did you alert the enemy, but you also ruined the sect's plan and caused many people to be killed by the blood-sucking array. Shameless. Hearing this, Ling Xiao felt that the 8 Immortal Mountain was shameless to the extreme. There's nothing we can do. The current sect master is just a puppet of the 8 great families. He can't compare to the old Ling Yan. Chang Feiying sighed. No wonder when I returned to the sect today, those people looked at me with disdain. So that's what happened. Ling Xiao was really disappointed in the 8 Immortal Mountain. He knew that the 8 Immortal Mountain was doing this to force him to leave so that they could deal with him. But he refused to leave. This was the sect that Ling Yan had once been in. Moreover, it had once strengthened the 8 Immortal Mountain to an extremely high level. Even if he wanted to leave, he would have to return the sect to Ling Yan. It's quite shameless. Forget it. Let's not talk about those unhappy things. You asked us what our mission was. It's actually very simple. We came to the 2nd floor of the ghost prison to kill an ironback thorn beast. That guy's strength has reached the early stage of the 1st star, 2nd floor of hell. Most importantly, its defense is very terrifying. Even martial artists of the same cultivation level would be helpless against it. I want to forge a weapon and need the shell of this ironback thorn beast. Chang Feiying changed the topic and said, under normal circumstances, we should be able to kill it if we work together. But I'm afraid of accidents. After all, this is the ghost prison. Chapter 2307. If nothing goes wrong, today's mission to kill the ironback thorn beast should be easily completed. Chang Feiying said with a smile. Ling Xiao nodded, thinking that he might not have to do anything today. Among these people, only Chang Feiying alone can contend with the ironback thorn beast. Although they may not be able to defeat it, they won't be defeated easily. With the help of others, success is guaranteed. One must know that there are dozens of people here. He plans to quietly leave after the battle begins. Anyway, he has achieved his goal of escorting Chang Feiying. Roar! Suddenly, an earth-shattering roar came from the huge natural cage. This made everyone's heart tremble. Just this roar alone contains a powerful force. As long as one has a little bit of analytical ability, they can tell that this is definitely not the level of the ironback thorn beast, according to the information. Damn, could it be that there's another change? Last time it was Yuan Neng. This time it's the ironback thorn beast? Ling Xiao frowned and opened his Tai Chi eye to look in the direction of the roar. Chang Feiying, I'm afraid you're in trouble. This ironback thorn beast seems to have eaten something, and its body has mutated. Its whole body is blood red and its strength has skyrocketed. If I'm not wrong, its cultivation is at least around the middle stage of the 1-star 2 layers of hell. I'm afraid the dozens of you are no match for it. Ling Xiao said with a frown when he saw the ironback thorn beast approaching them from afar. No way, no wonder its roar is so terrifying. In the crowd, the disciples of the Orange Immortal Mountain began to feel afraid. Miss Feiying, since the situation has changed, let's retreat first. There's no need to fight a mutated monster. That's right, Miss Feiying. Our mission is to deal with ordinary ironback thorn beasts, not this mutated guy. Some of the people who were full of confidence earlier were now a little afraid. They didn't believe Ling Xiao's words. The key was that the roar of the ironback thorn beast was really scary. Whoever wants to leave, leave. Anyway, this mission is not necessary to complete. I don't believe that with the strength of so many people, we can't kill a mutated ironback thorn beast. This is not a danger, but an opportunity. Although Cheng Feiying was a little worried, she was not afraid. There were 46 of them. Among these people, there were as many as 6 first transition martial artists. 2 of them were stronger than Cheng Feiying, while the other 4 were on par with her. Among the remaining 40 people, there were some at the late stage and peak stage of the second layer of hell. Such a powerful lineup was actually afraid of an ironback thorn beast? Wouldn't it be embarrassing if word got out? Ling Xiao didn't want to hurt Cheng Feiying, so he didn't say anything. However, he who had originally planned to leave stood there without moving. If Cheng Feiying was in danger, he would naturally lend a helping hand. Although the ironback thorn beast at the middle stage of the 1-star 2 layers of hell was terrifying, if he used his intermediate lightning battle body, intermediate lava battle body, and mystic world physique at full strength, it wouldn't be able to withstand the ironback thorn beast. Combined with the sun god martial spirit's transformation, there was no problem in resisting it. Coupled with Cheng Feiying's attacks, it wouldn't be difficult to kill the ironback thorn beast. Roar! As they spoke, the roar had already reached them. Everyone saw the ironback thorn beast, which was as tall as a small mountain. It was estimated to be at least 6 to 7 meters tall and more than 10 meters long. As it crawled on the ground, it was like a small mountain constantly squirming, and its speed was extremely fast. Only Ling Xiao, who was used to dangerous situations, was able to remain calm. However, the others were not as calm as him. That terrifying ironback thorn beast looked like a giant lizard, but its body was covered in spikes, which were pitch black and hard. That was the ironback thorn beast's most terrifying weapon. If they couldn't destroy those spikes, not only would they not be able to kill this guy, they would also be injured. The moment the ironback thorn beast appeared, its scarlet eyes were like huge fireballs as it glared at everyone. White gas was coming out of its mouth, and huge droplets of saliva kept dripping down. The ground was corroded and festered by the saliva. Just hearing the roar earlier, many Orange Immortal Mountain disciples were already scared out of their wits. Now, seeing this hill-like beast appear in front of them, a few female disciples were so scared that they fell to the ground and fainted on the spot. They were the typical flowers in a greenhouse. It was only because they cultivated and ate a mortal mountain and had never gone out to experience the world that they became like this. One must know that even if this ironback thorn beast did not mutate, it was definitely a top existence among the demonic beasts in the early stage of 1-star 2 layers of hell. Especially its terrifying strength and defense, it could be said to be invincible among those of the same level. Now that it had mutated, its strength had skyrocketed. It was not surprising that those people would be afraid. If it was an ordinary ironback thorn beast, they would still dare to try to deal with it. This was also the reason why Orange Immortal Mountain issued this mission. But now that the situation had changed, it was beyond their expectations. Many people panicked. The ironback thorn beast was very smart. When it appeared, it actually passed by the calmest Ling Xiao and Cheng Feiying and rushed into the crowd. Ling Xiao looked at the group of people coldly, with no intention of helping. Because these people had mocked and ridiculed him before, which was really disgusting and annoying. He was not the Virgin Mary. Why would he save these idiots who were always targeting him? But even if he did not help, Cheng Feiying had to. Cheng Feiying was the eldest daughter of Orange Immortal Mountain. She was the granddaughter of Orange Immortal Mountain's Mountain Lord. She was different from Ling Xiao. Seeing the ironback thorn beast pass over her head and rush into the crowd, she chased after it and shouted, "Don't just stand there. Attack! It's not as strong as you think." Unfortunately, the crowd was in chaos. Those young people who had not experienced reincarnation were inexperienced little brats. When they saw danger, they immediately broke down. They could do nothing but run and scream. Some were even dumbfounded on the spot. As for those martial artists who had experienced reincarnation, they were afraid of death and were unwilling to attack. Instead, they turned around and tried to escape. But how could their speed compare to the ironback thorn beast's leap? This guy jumped at least 100 meters with each leap. Seeing this scene, Cheng Feiying was a little desperate. She did not expect that these people, who were usually so arrogant, would become so useless in the face of real danger today. She gritted her teeth and spat out blood. She forced herself to consume her qi and blood to increase her speed. Finally, she caught up to the ironback thorn beast and stabbed the sharp sword in her hand into its body. However, this was of no use. The most terrifying thing about the ironback thorn beast was its defense. Its attack was not that impressive. Cheng Feiying's attack only left a few sparks on the beast's body. But even so, Cheng Feiying had angered the ironback thorn beast. Chapter 2308. Get out of the way and attack with musical notes. Although this guy's physical defense is strong, it should be afraid of your musical note attacks. Ling Xiao couldn't bear to watch any longer. He didn't care about the life and death of the people of Orange Immortal Mountain, but he couldn't ignore Cheng Feiying's life and death. Cheng Feiying had lost her composure in order to save someone. She actually gave up her best technique. Hearing Ling Xiao's reminder, she remembered that she still had her best attack. But at this moment, the ironback thorn beast's huge tail was like a terrifying black shadow. She couldn't resist at all, let alone attack. Just at this critical moment, Yi Zichen's eyes lit up. A figure flashed past her like a bolt of lightning and slammed into the tail of the giant beast. The giant beast was knocked to the ground, and at the same time the figure was sent flying dozens of meters away. Only now did Cheng Feiying see clearly who that person was. The person who dared to face the ironback thorn beast head on was none other than Ling Xiao. It was Ling Xiao, the person who was mocked by her Orange Immortal Mountain disciples. Cheng Feiying wasn't the only one who was shocked by this scene. Those Orange Immortal Mountain disciples who were panicking and even wet themselves saw it clearly. Their faces instantly flushed red. That was shame. Inferiority. Are you okay? Cheng Feiying released her martial soul and began to play the guzheng. She kept releasing musical notes, and finally it had some effect on the ironback thorn beast. Only then did she have the opportunity to show concern for Ling Xiao. I'm fine. Ling Xiao got up from the ground, looking a little battered. But obviously he wasn't injured. He was absolutely unharmed. What exactly is your body made of? Cheng Feiying was both shocked and pleasantly surprised. Ling Xiao surprised her again and again. This was why she fell in love with Ling Xiao. She originally thought that her dream was to marry a disciple of 8 Immortal Mountain. And that person was someone she thought about day and night. He was Jian Lufeng of the Sword Tribe. But now, Cheng Feiying realized that perhaps Ling Xiao was more suitable for her. Jian Lufeng was too arrogant. She had always been in love with him. Moreover, she now felt that if Ling Xiao continued to develop like this, he would surpass Jian Lufeng sooner or later. He might even reach the level of Ling Yan in the past. Today's incident was a good example. Ling Xiao stared at the ironback thorn beast in the distance. His hands were still trembling. In this collision, he had only used his mystic world physique. He hadn't used his thunder and lightning body and martial soul transformation. Therefore, his entire body was in extreme pain from the collision. It had to be said that this ironback thorn beast was really tough. Is it okay? Was that Ling Xiao just? Some of the Orange Immortal Mountain's disciples still hadn't come to their senses. They simply couldn't believe what they were seeing. How can he is of the worlds is? The burly man Immortal Mountains of the way Immortal Mountain. Of the immortalest perhaps among these people. He was the only one who understood Ling Xiao's strength the best. Of the I think it's just because the ironback thorn beast is weak. Aren't we a little too cowardly? We were saved by someone from the Black Immortal Mountain. What a shame. The one who spoke was a first transition martial artist. His strength was even stronger than Cheng Feiying's, and he was considered one of the best in this group. He had only cared about protecting himself. He hadn't expected Ling Xiao to steal the limelight. Naturally, he was very unhappy. Brother Fong, do you think so too? I also think that Ling Xiao was just lucky to encounter an ironback thorn beast that wasn't very strong. That's why this happened. Brother Qin, why don't we join forces to destroy that ironback thorn beast? That way, we can gain face in front of Miss Feiying. We can't let that kid from the Black Immortal Mountain steal the limelight. That's exactly what I was thinking. After Fong and Qin finished their discussion, they jumped out at the same time and charged at the ironback thorn beast. Cheng Feiying had been able to suppress the monster with the help of musical notes' soul power. However, Qin and Fong's actions infuriated the monster. It roared at the sky, as if to say, "Do you really think I'm a sick cat that anyone can bully?" Qin and Fong had just jumped into the air when they were so scared that their bodies stiffened and they couldn't move. Although they weren't weak, they didn't have Ling Xiao's powerful soul power and domineering aura. Facing the ironback thorn beast, they were scared before they even fought. If they had really attacked, they wouldn't have died, but they turned and ran. In the end, they were brutally slapped to death by the ironback thorn beast's claws. The two corpses fell to the ground. The others from the Orange Immortal Mountain instantly shut their mouths. Those who had been complaining about Ling Xiao's good luck didn't dare to utter a word. The two people who had been killed by the ironback thorn beast were the two strongest among them. Yet they had ended up like this. What else did they have to show off? Scram to the side. Don't be a hindrance here. Ling Xiao jumped out. His whole body began to change, transforming into the sinister sun, god, martial spirit transformation. Although it was only a partial transformation, his ferocious appearance still shocked everyone. So the rumors were true. This Ling Xiao is a beast warrior. That's an extinct existence in the Black Tortoise continent. Although this appearance is terrifying, it's very cool and eye-catching. Some female disciples of the Orange Immortal Mountain have already become Ling Xiao's fangirls. You're really a beast warrior? Cheng Feiying asked in surprise. That's right. Ling Xiao nodded and didn't deny it. Beast god martial artists are also beast warriors. They're just the strongest beast warriors in the Black Tortoise continent. Be careful, that guy is coming. Cheng Feiying suddenly shouted. Even if you're coming, you still have to stop for me. Ling Xiao roared. Like a ferocious beast, he stepped forward and pressed down on the ironback thorn beast's two huge claws with both hands. The ironback thorn beast was unable to restrain its anger and ruthlessly whipped its tail at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's tail also stretched out from behind him like a python and ruthlessly bit the ironback thorn beast's tail. This scene caused the Orange Immortal Mountain disciples to be dumbstruck. What a beast! A true monster! Although I feel embarrassed, Senior Brother Fong and Senior Brother Qin really can't compare to him. The Orange Immortal Mountain disciples weren't idiots. They mocked Ling Xiao before because they didn't understand Ling Xiao. On the other hand, Ling Xiao's cultivation is indeed lower than theirs. Of course, the most important thing was the 8 Immortal Mountains' false propaganda, especially the Sand Race's malicious defamation of Ling Xiao. This caused these people's impression of Ling Xiao to be extremely bad. Now that they've seen Ling Xiao display such formidable strength, even if they're not convinced verbally, they have no choice but to admit that Ling Xiao is powerful. Miss Feiying, do you mind if I snatch this mutated ironback thorn beast? The reason Ling Xiao asked this is to give face to Cheng Feiying. If it were someone else, he would have directly attacked without any nonsense. Chapter 2309. Of course I don't mind. Without you, we wouldn't have only lost 2 people today. Cheng Feiying nodded and said, But don't you need my help? No need. You can search nearby. There should be other ironback thorn beasts here. It should be enough for you to complete your mission," Ling Xiao said loudly. After all, this was the ironback thorn beast's cage. There couldn't be only one ironback thorn beast here. Who knew that as soon as he said this, he saw another beast smaller than the mutated ironback thorn beast appear and charge towards the Orange Immortal Mountain disciples. This time, the Orange Immortal Mountain disciples weren't as flustered as before. Qing Feiying, in particular, released a musical note that instantly bound the ordinary ironback thorn beast. Although it was only for a moment, it allowed the Orange Immortal Mountain disciples to regroup. "Miss Feiying, let's see if I can kill this guy first, or you can kill that guy first." Ling Xiao grinned. Suddenly, a cold aura of death appeared on his sharp claws. Consecutive nether ghost claws bombarded the mutated ironback thorn beast's claws. The behemoth kept retreating. In terms of strength, Ling Xiao wouldn't lose to such a monster. "Ling Xiao, you're going to lose this time. No matter what, the ordinary ironback thorn beast is much weaker." Qing Feiying was also competitive. She didn't want to always be suppressed by Ling Xiao. Brothers and sisters of the Orange Fairy Mountain, this time, even if we don't fight for the bread, we have to fight for our pride. We have more people, and the ironback thorn beast we're facing is weaker. If we don't beat the others before they do, it'll be too embarrassing. Ling Xiao smiled. In fact, the competition was just to liven up the atmosphere. There was no need to compete with Qing Feiying. But to be honest, he really wanted to see if he could defeat the mutated ironback thorn beast before him faster than the people of the Orange Immortal Mountain. Meteor sword art, fall! Ling Xiao took a step forward. His body flashed, and a long sword appeared in his right hand. After all, the nether ghost claw wasn't mature enough. This sword art was more convenient to use. The heavy sword and the mutated ironback thorn beast collided. Once again, there was a shocking explosion. But this time, due to the special effect of fall, the ironback thorn beast was smashed to the ground. Even the thorns on its back seemed to have small cracks. Although the crack was small, it meant that the attack was effective. "I want to see how many times you can take my attacks." Relying on his speed advantage, Ling Xiao used the moonlight meteor steps. His body was like a shooting star as he began to attack the mutant ironback thorn beast. The sword light kept flashing on the ironback thorn beast. The ironback thorn beast howled in anger. It wasn't because of the pain, but because she couldn't catch Ling Xiao. S's course, SST. The ironback thorn beast's defense was not to be underestimated, especially when it used all of its wild beast strength for defense. Ling Xiao's attacks became difficult to break through. With Ling Xiao's speed, he should be fine. I can deal with the ordinary ironback thorn beast in front of me with peace of mind. Qing Feiying was still very concerned about Ling Xiao. After all, if it weren't for Ling Xiao, she would have been seriously injured by the mutated ironback thorn beast, even if she didn't die. Now that she saw that Ling Xiao wasn't in danger, she was slightly relieved. She planned to join forces with her brothers and sisters to kill the ordinary ironback thorn beast in front of them before going to help Ling Xiao. Everyone listen up. Let's deal with the ordinary ironback thorn beast in front of us, and then go help Ling Xiao. Do you have any objections? Qing Feiying turned around and asked. No. Although some people were still unwilling, they had to admit that if it weren't for Ling Xiao blocking the mutated ironback thorn beast, not only would Qing Feiying have died, but they would have also died. At this moment, when they thought about the sarcasm they had directed at Ling Xiao before, everyone felt a little uncomfortable. Could it be that the sect's judgment was wrong? Many of the Orange Immortal Mountain disciples now began to doubt the sect's judgment of Ling Xiao. In fact, for a martial artist like Ling Xiao, because he was fast enough, it was easy for him to deal with powerful but clumsy monsters. Moreover, his strength and the toughness of his body weren't inferior to the ironback thorn beast at all. In fact, he was even stronger. Seeing that the sword technique couldn't take effect, Ling Xiao sneered. His body suddenly flashed with a crimson lava light. His whole body seemed to be wrapped in a layer of lava armor. Not only was he more handsome than before, but he was also more eye-catching. His combat strength had also suddenly soared. This was the real benefit. The power of lava had long been integrated into every cell of Ling Xiao's. As long as he circulated his inner force, he could use it with a thought. The yin-yang yuan force in his entire body turned crimson and even turned into a viscous liquid. If he touched the enemy, he could burn the enemy. At this time, he was only using the elementary lava battle body, because for the time being, he didn't need to use the intermediate lava battle body to deal with this ironback thorn beast. Coupled with his powerful mystic world body and sun god martial soul transformation, he had no problem directly fighting this mutated ironback thorn beast. The disciples of the Orange Immortal Mountain stole some time to turn their heads to take a look. Each and every one of them was so shocked that their eyeballs almost fell to the ground. Ling Xiao held the sword in his right hand, while his left hand condensed into a terrifyingly sharp claw. Just like that, he went back and forth with the ironback thorn beast. He didn't dodge at all. If someone had said this before, they would have thought that person was crazy. How could a disciple of the 8 Immortal Mountain have such ability? But now it was all in front of them. Ling Xiao actually had the upper hand in the head-on clash with the ironback thorn beast. On the contrary, the ironback thorn beast's wounds were increasing. From time to time, it would erupt with angry roars. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, became braver and stronger as he fought. In the end, he simply put away the heavy sword. He directly fought with his bare hands, because he found that in the fight with the ironback thorn beast, the energy in his body from the blood-sucking demon beast seemed to be getting easier and easier to control. He became stronger again. The pretty boy with a red mole, who had mocked Ling Xiao and said that he would never help him, was now shivering in the autumn wind. He was afraid that after Ling Xiao killed the mutated ironback thorn beast, he would come to settle the score with him. I think the sect must have listened to slander. With Ling Xiao's strength, it's not strange that he killed the demon envoy. Gradually, some of the Orange Immortal Mountain disciples began to change their opinion of Ling Xiao. Although this opinion didn't mean much to Ling Xiao, no one liked to be scolded all the time. Ling Xiao was the same. Of course, he also wanted to be recognized and worshipped by others. After all, he was the Heavenly Emperor of the Heavenly Empire. This was especially important. Chapter 2310. I think so too. It's already so difficult for so many of us to deal with an ordinary ironback thorn beast. But Ling Xiao is dealing with a mutant ironback thorn beast so effortlessly. That guy just slapped the 2 strongest people in Orange Immortal Mountain's second layer of Hell to Death. Most of these people are disciples in charge of support, so they have time to talk. As for Cheng Feiying, who is fighting the ordinary ironback thorn beast in the center, she can only take the time to glance at the situation over there. But even this glance is enough to make her pleasantly surprised. She can't help but sigh in her heart. Cheng Feiying, didn't get Jian Liufeng's favor, but now I feel that it's a blessing. Meeting Ling Xiao and becoming friends with Ling Xiao is my greatest blessing. Thinking back to how she didn't even spare a glance for Ling Xiao, Cheng Feiying feels that she was very laughable. In the future, she can't just judge people by their appearance and rumors. Back then, she was fooled by those bad rumors. Just as she is thinking, Ling Xiao's hearty voice suddenly comes to her ear. "Miss Feiying, I'm going to end the fight here first." Ling Xiao's words make everyone stare blankly for a moment. After all, Orange Immortal Mountain is only trapping the ordinary ironback thorn beast. It will take at least half an hour to defeat it. Ling Xiao is actually going to end the fight? Those who are free can't help but look over. They see Ling Xiao suddenly retreat, his hands forming strange giant claws. Then a gloomy and terrifying aura quickly condenses on the claws. Ironback Bramble Beast, in order to thank you for helping me raise the Iksha style to Desheng, I will use it to end your life. After several minutes of continuous bombardment, in fact, Ling Xiao has already left many internal injuries on the Ironback Thorn Beast's body. The spiky scales on the Ironback Thorn Beast's body are basically all broken. Without that defense, its ability to resist attacks is at least halved. In addition to those internal injuries, Ling Xiao was confident that he could kill this beast in one move. After saying that, his figure suddenly rushed out, and the giant claws condensed in his hands revealed the appearance of a Yiksha. The blow landed on the mutant Ironback Thorn Beast, who was already dizzy and couldn't even tell north from south. Boom! After a terrible crash, the Ironback Thorn Beast let out a miserable shriek. The pitiful Ironback Thorn Beast, which was known for its defense, was pierced through by Ling Xiao's claw. Blood splattered everywhere like a rain of blood. The disciples of the Orange Immortal Mountain all let out cries of surprise as they watched this shocking scene in astonishment. The Ironback Thorn Beast fell to the ground with a loud thud. After twitching twice, it finally stopped moving. The scariest thing about the Nether Spirit Claw was the deathly aura that wrapped around its claws. Once entangled by this deathly aura, then death was inevitable. At this time, all the disciples of the Orange Immortal Mountain stopped fighting and looked over in a daze. They didn't know what words to use to describe what they saw. When the ordinary Ironback Thorn Beast saw that its mutant boss was dead, it didn't dare to stay here any longer. It turned around and fled with a miserable howl. But Cheng Feiying wouldn't let it escape so easily. She condensed her powerful soul power and attacked with a musical note. A ferocious musical note, Ice Lion, bit the ordinary Ironback Thorn Beast's neck. Everyone attack, quick! Cheng Feiying knew that the opportunity had come. Because its boss was killed, this Ironback Thorn Beast became timid and only wanted to escape, exposing its weakness. As long as they cooperated well, they could easily kill this guy. On the other side, Ling Xiao casually threw the corpse of the mutant Ironback Thorn Beast into his storage ring. This was his spoils of war. This thing could be exchanged for a large number of contribution points. He came to the second floor of the ghost prison to find the blood pool and to get more contribution points. Now he was basically done. A moment later, the battle over there was also over. But none of the disciples of the Orange Immortal Mountain dared to collect the spoils of war, because Ling Xiao was here. Except for Cheng Feiying, almost all of them said bad things about Ling Xiao. They were afraid that Ling Xiao would take revenge. This Ling Xiao was even more terrifying than the mutant Ironback Thorn Beast. This was enough to scare them to death. What? You guys don't want this? Ling Xiao asked with a smile. With senior brother Ling here, how would we dare to take the spoils of war? The pretty boy with the red mole between his eyebrows was so obedient that he looked like Ling Xiao's little grandson. Ha 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 ha, that's the right attitude. But I didn't kill that ordinary Ironback Thorn Beast, so I won't take it. Miss Feiying, you guys hurry up and take the spoils of war and leave. I still have something to do, so I'll stay a bit longer. Ling Xiao smiled and pinched the pretty boy's cheek. Not only was the guy not angry, but he was also excitedly showing off to the other disciples. Did you see that? I said that Senior Brother Ling is magnanimous. See, Senior Brother Ling and I got to know each other through fighting. This guy was really thick-skinned. But Ling Xiao really couldn't be bothered to care about such trivial matters. He wasn't attacking him, he was just being sarcastic. He believed that these guys knew fear now. That was enough. Ling Xiao, I only want a bit of the shell of this Ironback Thorn Beast to make weapons. If you like the rest, you can have it. Anyway, if it weren't for you today, we probably wouldn't even be alive, let alone talk about spoils of war. At this time, Chang Feiying walked over and said, "Ling Xiao didn't stand on ceremony." After Chang Feiying removed some of the shell, he threw the ordinary ironback thorn beast into his storage ring. The reason why he wanted the ironback thorn beast's body was, of course, to exchange it for contribution points. With enough contribution points, he can exchange for more thunder elemental jade and lava elemental jade, as well as medicinal herbs and cultivation materials. In that way, his cultivation can naturally improve faster. This ironback thorn beast's entire body was a treasure. He estimated that he could exchange it for a lot of contribution points. "I say, Miss Akira, have you seen enough?" "I didn't say you couldn't see. Hiding in the dark is really boring." Ling Xiao put away the ironback thorn beast and then looked behind a huge rock in the distance. Ordinary people can't sense that position with their internal force. Moreover, Akira's dodging skills are very good. But unfortunately, Ling Xiao has the Tai Chi eye, which easily discovered Akira's existence. Hearing Ling Xiao's voice, Chang Feiying and the others looked in that direction curiously. They really didn't feel anything at all. The admiration they had for Ling Xiao was like a torrential river that flowed endlessly. "Hee hee, I didn't expect your eyes to be so sharp. You actually found me." Amidst the laughter, Akira swayed her body and walked out, followed by two followers who were slightly weaker than her. "My eyes are naturally sharp. Not only can I see through that huge rock, but I also see what you're wearing today." Chapter 23:11. Ling Xiao looked at Akira and teased, "That daffodil is pretty, but it doesn't match you. You should embroider a green foxtail. You always like to follow behind others." Hearing Ling Xiao's words, Akira's face instantly turned red and she hurriedly turned around. After a long time, she returned to normal. She turned around and stared at Ling Xiao. A strange aura wrapped around her body. Just now, Akira led the disciples of Orange Fairy Mountain to carry out a mission on the second floor of Ghost Prison. Suddenly, she heard the sound of fighting here, so she came to check it out. She saw Ling Xiao fighting the mutated ironback thorn beast and finally killing the monster on the spot. To be honest, I was shocked by the scene before her. Ling Xiao's fighting image kept replaying in her mind. Like a flood, she couldn't get rid of it. Shock, confusion, dissatisfaction. She didn't know what she was feeling, but when she saw Ling Xiao, she felt a little helpless. Especially when she heard Ling Xiao's teasing words. She actually felt that she wasn't particularly angry. "No, how can I like this lowly guy, not to mention he killed my sister?" Akira shook her head vigorously, desperately trying to get rid of Ling Xiao's heroic image from her soul realm. To be honest, she came to find Ling Xiao to fulfill her previous words and kill this guy on the spot. But now, not only did she not have any killing intent, but she also had a very strange feeling. Of course, the main reason was that she was no longer as confident as before. Ling Xiao could kill the mutated ironback thorn beast with brute force, but she couldn't. Although she didn't want to admit it, Ling Xiao's current strength had probably surpassed her. "Why don't I let Sha Hai test this guy first? I always feel that this kid isn't easy to deal with." Akira thought of Sha Hai, and her heart suddenly felt warm. Sha Hai's figure instantly occupied her entire mind, chasing away Ling Xiao's figure. She believed that after Sha Hai became a disciple of the 8 Immortals Mountain, he would definitely receive more support. His cultivation would definitely improve greatly in a short period of time. Almost every warrior who had been promoted to a disciple of the 8 Immortals Mountain had the same experience. When they had just advanced, they would make a breakthrough. This was because the resources on the 8 Immortals Mountain were much more abundant than the resources on the 8 Immortals Mountain. Moreover, there were stronger teachers to guide them. Most importantly, once he ascended to the 8 Immortals Mountain, he would get a chance to go to the Immortal Palace to pray. If they were lucky, they could obtain the importation of the immortals of the Immortal Court continent, which would greatly increase their strength. Even if his luck wasn't good, there would still be a significant improvement. Before coming to the second floor of the ghost prison, Akira had heard that Shahai had received the recognition of a certain immortal from the immortal Lyceum continent and had been imparted with a secret technique and a pill. After that, he went into seclusion. He estimated that he would be able to come out in 2 days. He would definitely be able to make another breakthrough. Even his own aptitude would increase. How could Ling Xiao compare to him? These thoughts only flashed through Akira's mind for an instant. She sneered, and her original panic quickly turned into calmness. Ling Xiao, what's the use of your bitter struggle? In the end, it's all for naught. I won't let you off. He has already received the secret technique from the immortal Lyceum continent. This time, when you leave the second floor of the ghost prison, the end will come. Speaking up to here, Akira suddenly smiled sweetly and said, "However, if you are willing to be my subject and become my man, I can plead with Shahai to spare your life." "You like me?" Ling Xiao suddenly asked. "Only a ghost would like you, you arrogant bastard," Akira said furiously. "It's good that you don't like me. I wouldn't want a woman like you even if you gave me a dozen for free. Since your Lord Shahai is so powerful, go back and find him. However, I still say the same thing. For his own good, don't come looking for me. Otherwise, I don't care if he is the disciple of an immortal or not, he will die." Ling Xiao sneered. You bastard. You think this young lady would like a guy like you? Don't daydream. You country bumpkin. Lowly wretch." Akira had never been as flustered as she was today. Usually, her performance was very calm. "Let's go." In order to calm herself down as soon as possible, Akira could only leave in a hurry. "Ling Xiao, I also heard that Shahai has received the guidance of an immortal. I'm afraid that his cultivation will advance by leaps and bounds. You were able to defeat him last time purely by luck. This time, you must be careful." Chang Feiying walked over and reminded him. "The one who should be careful is Shahai, not me. Miss Feiying, remember this. No one can defeat me after losing to me. This time, not only will I defeat him, but I will also completely destroy him, so that he will never have the chance to find trouble with me again." Ling Xiao had originally thought that after Shahai had profited from his misfortune, he would obediently cultivate and not provoke him again. However, that guy was obviously not so obedient. Last time, he had snatched the beast soul that he needed. This time, his cultivation had increased again. Perhaps he would want his life, right? He, Ling Xiao, was not someone who would sit and wait for death. He would eliminate Shahai no matter what. "I believe in you." Cheng Feiying gave Ling Xiao a deep look and said, "You guys go back first. I still have to go further in." Akira's words made Ling Xiao even more anxious to increase his strength. He said a few words to Cheng Feiying before heading deeper into the forest. A day later, Ling Xiao stepped out of the second floor of the ghost prison. There was an imperceptible smug smile on his face, but he looked a little embarrassed. During this day, although he did not find the blood pool, he killed a Tyrant blood demon dragon in the second floor of the ghost prison. This was a kind of monster beast with dragon bloodline. It was stronger than ordinary monster beasts, about the same strength as the mutated ironback thorn beast. Ling Xiao used his mystic world physique, sun god martial soul transformation, and intermediate lightning battle body to finally kill it. It took almost an entire day. After that, Ling Xiao used this guy's dragon blood to create a blood pool and cultivate it. Finally, the door to the second floor of hell was 90% open. Just one more step and he would be able to fully open it. Although the breakthrough was not successful, Ling Xiao unexpectedly obtained another good thing. It was the Tyrant blood demon dragon martial soul. This martial soul was a dragon-type martial soul of the second floor of hell. He directly embedded it into the dragon god position of the 12 beast gods, adding another transformation to his 12 beast gods' martial soul transformation. Of course, this martial soul could be changed again. In the future, when his cultivation increased, he could change to a stronger one. At present, this dragon-type martial soul of the second floor of hell was the most suitable transformation martial soul for Ling Xiao. The sun god martial soul was too powerful. It also needed to divert a part of its power to prevent the martial soul from going berserk. This was too difficult for Ling Xiao. Chapter 23:12. In Ling Xiao's body, there was now a beast god ring more than any other cultivator. There were 12 positions on the beast god ring, and each position could embed a beast spirit. The closer it was to the user's cultivation, the more power it could unleash. The Tyrant, Blood, Demon, Dragon martial spirit was just like this. In the future, he wouldn't have to expose his sun god martial spirit transformation so easily. Perhaps no one knew about the 8 immortal city, but it didn't mean that no one would know about it as he continued to walk out. After coming out of the ghost prison's second floor, Ling Xiao went directly to the Hall of Good and Evil to find someone to exchange for contribution points. Because Lin Haoyu wasn't here today, Ling Xiao went to find the deacon of the exchange office. It was just a small matter anyway, so there was no need to trouble Lin Haoyu. Oh, who was I? So it's Hero Ling. Sorry for the disrespect. What does Hero Ling need? The deacon's attitude towards Ling Xiao wasn't as good as Lin Haoyu's. Ling Xiao frowned. He really didn't know how he offended this guy to make him speak so strangely. But this was just a small matter, so he couldn't be bothered to care. He said casually, I want exchange for a beast spirit from the second floor of hell. Do you have it here? The deacon said with a smile, Hero needs a beast spirit. Of course we have it, but a beast spirit from the second floor of hell is not cheap. After the steel-armored ox martial spirit was bought by the sand race last time, the price of this thing rose to 2,000 contribution points. Although I really want to give it to Hero Ling, the sect has rules. Unless you can take out 2,000 contribution points. Otherwise, there's no need to talk about it. 2,000 contribution points? How did it increase so much all of a sudden? Ling Xiao frowned. To him, 2,000 contribution points was definitely enough. He had 1,200 points left from last time, and with the things he hunted this time, it was definitely enough. But he really couldn't bear to part with it. However, contribution points were used. As long as he was strong enough, he could enter the higher floors of the ghost prison and even take on stronger missions. That way, he would get more contribution points. He gritted his teeth and said, What martial spirits do you have? Let me see. Great Hero Ling, did you not hear what I just said? It requires 2,000 contribution points. It's not that I'm looking down on you, but with your strength, it's almost impossible to get 2,000 contribution points. The deacon sneered. I don't have 2,000 contribution points, but it shouldn't be a problem to look at the goods, right? Ling Xiao felt that this deacon seemed to be targeting him. This guy's strength was far inferior to Lin Ruoxian's. He was just a small deacon of the Hall of Reward and Kindness and Punish and Vice. How could he be so arrogant? I can't afford it, even if I look at it. I might as well not look at it. The deacon didn't even move. Clearly, he knew that Ling Xiao couldn't produce anything. Can I buy it as long as I have enough contribution points? Ling Xiao asked coldly. Of course, I can't target you, Hero Ling. I've always been a person who treats everyone equally, the deacon said with a smile. However, anyone with a discerning eye could see that he was targeting Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao is in trouble this time. That deacon is from the Scarlet Fairy Mountain. Ling Xiao has a grudge with the Scarlet Fairy Mountain. Even if he doesn't have a grudge, do you think he can produce 2,000 contribution points? What a joke! In the crowd, it was obvious that everyone didn't have high hopes for Ling Xiao. After all, Ling Xiao's current cultivation was only at the first level of hell. Even if he worked himself to death at the first level, he wouldn't be able to get many contribution points. Just exchanging for healing pills, there was not much left. Bang! Ling Xiao suddenly threw the huge, ordinary ironback thorn beast on the counter. He said coldly, "How many contribution points can this be exchanged for?" Hey, that seems to be an ironback thorn beast at the early stage of the first level of hell. If this thing's corpse was intact, it could be exchanged for 500 contribution points. There were many other disciples in the exchange office. When they saw this huge monster fall there, they were shocked and very surprised. The deacon was also surprised. "Where did you get this thing?" he asked in a questioning tone. "Someone gave it to me. Can't I?" Ling Xiao looked at the deacon coldly and asked. "Hee, of course, of course." The deacon smiled while secretly criticizing Ling Xiao in his heart. How could this guy be so lucky that someone would give him such a valuable thing? However, since Ling Xiao brought it here, he had to help him exchange for it. At least he didn't dare to act recklessly in the open. He looked at the ironback thorn beast carefully and said, 100 contribution points. What? As soon as he said that, not to mention Ling Xiao, even the onlookers felt that it was too much. The ironback thorn beast was basically intact. Only a little of its shell was taken away. It was worth at least 400 to 500 contribution points, but this guy only offered 100. This was simply too black-hearted. "Are you sure you're not talking nonsense?" Ling Xiao's voice became cold. He really didn't like to cause trouble. However, if someone came looking for him, he would never back down. It was still the same saying. Kind people were bullied, kind horses were ridden. Wolves traveled 1,000 miles to eat meat. Dogs traveled 1,000 miles to eat shit. Of course, he wouldn't be a dog. What? Hero Ling wants to cause trouble in the Hall of Good and Evil? The deacon stood there casually, certain that Ling Xiao didn't dare to cause trouble. Even if Ling Xiao wanted to fight, he might not be his opponent. He was a martial artist at the peak of the second layer of hell. Although he wasn't a reincarnation realm martial artist, he wasn't someone Ling Xiao could provoke. His voice was filled with sarcasm and ridicule, as well as a strong sense of provocation. 100 contribution points. Do you want exchange or not? In the entire 8 Immortal Mountain, there was only one exchange office for the disciples of the 8 Immortal Mountain. Other than here, Ling Xiao couldn't go anywhere else. This guy actually dared to act so brazenly. It was enough to see how many parasites there were in the 8 Immortal Mountain. It was probably about to completely rot. Ling Xiao naturally couldn't exchange. He could wait until Lin Haoyu came back. However, just as he was about to put away the item, a voice sounded. Such a huge ironback thorn beast, and it's extremely well preserved. It's estimated to be 600 contribution points. Who's talking nonsense? I'm the rules of the exchange office. I have the final say. The deacon heard this and immediately roared. However, when he turned around to look at the owner of the voice, he stuttered. Hall Master. Hall Master Lin. You still know that I, Lin Haoyu, am the Hall Master of the Hall of Good and Evil. Lin Haoyu said coldly, in the past, you used the Sand Race's protection to do whatever you wanted. I tolerated it, since it was just a small matter. Chapter 2313. Don't, Hall Master Lin. This subordinate was just confused for a moment. Besides, the origin of that ironback thorn beast is unknown. It's impossible for him to kill it with his strength. Maybe he stole it. How could I dare exchange it for him? That's why I did it on purpose, to make him leave. The deacon rolled his eyes and actually began to slander Ling Xiao, aiming his spear at him. He can't kill this ironback thorn beast with his strength? Lin, how you sneered. You really won't cry until you see the coffin. Ling Xiao, I've heard from Fei Ying about what happened on the second floor of the ghost prison. Don't you still have a variant ironback thorn beast corpse? Take it out and show it to this guy." Ling Xiao smiled, then touched his storage ring. When the corpse of the mutant ironback thorn beast was thrown out, it almost filled the entire exchange counter. Fortunately, this place was designed to be big enough, otherwise, it really wouldn't have fit. It really is a variant ironback thorn beast. I heard that this guy is much stronger than the ordinary ones. It should be at the 1-star second floor middle stage. Haha, this deacon is going to make a fool of himself. Ling Xiao can even kill a variant ironback thorn beast. The ordinary ones are nothing. Amidst the discussion of the crowd, the deacon of the exchange office trembled, as if he was standing in a world of ice and snow. "Enough! You can leave. Our hall of good reward and evil doesn't need people like you." Lin Haoyu looked at the deacon coldly and said, he originally wanted to find an opportunity to drive this guy away, and today Ling Xiao gave him a chance. "Hall Master Lin, for the sake of my many years of hard work, please spare me this time. I won't dare to do it again." The deacon actually knelt down in front of Lin Haoyu and cried out. "Scram!" Lin Haoyu roared in disgust. The deacon was frightened by his ferocious aura. He stood up and scrambled away. "Ling Xiao, it's all because of you that I lost this job. Just you wait. I want you dead. I want you dead." After leaving the Hall of Virtue and Punishment, the deacon went straight to the sand race to search for the sand sea. Of course, Ling Xiao didn't know this. At this time, Lin Haoyu personally calculated the valuation of the 2 ironback thorn beasts for him. Ordinary ironback thorn beasts cost 400 contribution points. Mutated ironback thorn beast 600 contribution points. It added up to exactly 1,000. In addition to the remaining 1,200, he now had a total of 2,200 contribution points. "Hall Master Lin, I heard from the deacon that you have a beast soul from the second hell?" Ling Xiao asked anxiously after receiving the contribution points. "Of course. Last time, you said you needed the beast soul of the steel-armored bull demon. I've already posted a mission. Someone happened to bring it back yesterday. It only costs 1,500 contribution points." Lin Haoyu replied. "Didn't that guy say 2,000? That guy has been stuffing his own pockets for a long time. Relying on his relationship with the sand race, he is simply too daring. It is also thanks to you that I have the opportunity to drive him away. Otherwise, my external hall of reward the good and punish the evil will become a place for evil." Lin Haoyu sighed. "Okay, give me the steel-armored bull demon martial soul." Ling Xiao now needed to increase his combat strength. His beast god ring would increase his strength by 10% with each additional beast soul. Although it wasn't much, if all 12 were filled, it would more than double his strength. To him, this would make him even more powerful. Besides, the Tyrant blood demonic dragon beast soul emphasized terrifying combat strength. After transformation, it could fly and have wings, although it might not be as good as the wings he had in the past. But at this stage, it was definitely enough. The steel-armored bull demon was the embodiment of the ultimate defense. Its focus was different, and it could be used against different opponents. After trading with Lin Haoyu for the steel-armored bull demon beast soul, Ling Xiao went to exchange for some soul gems and some herbs. This time, he had really used up all his contribution points. However, if the old didn't go, the new wouldn't come. As his strength continued to increase, it would become easier to obtain contribution points. He didn't feel that it was a pity. After leaving the Hall of Good and Evil and returning to his residence on Black Immortal Mountain, Ling Xiao activated the array formation and concealed his aura. First, he took out the soul gems and gave them to the Yuan Venerate and Xindian. When the Yuan Venerate's soul flew out of Ling Xiao's body, Ling Xiao thought that his eyes were playing tricks on him. "Master, why do I feel that your soul is much stronger than before? It's not as weak as before. It's not an illusion. It's real." Soul gems are really good things. They're really useful for soul bodies like us. I'll have to trouble you to get more similar things in the future." The Yuan Venerate smiled. "As long as my soul is strong enough, I'll be able to condense a physical body on my own." "Me too," Xindian said excitedly. No one liked to remain in a soul state all the time. After all, one's soul might be blown away by a gust of cold wind. Furthermore, soul bodies had to rely on others. Just like how the Yuan Venerate had to rely on Ling Xiao, Shandian had to hide in the secret technique sword to ensure that his soul wouldn't be destroyed. This was really too pitiful. "Don't worry. If there's a chance in the future, I'll find more and better things to strengthen your souls." In Ling Xiao's opinion, the healthier the Yuan Venerate and Xindian were, the more abundant his combat methods would be. The Yuan Venerate was one of his very powerful trump cards. It was so powerful that his enemies couldn't imagine it. Shandian was an effective means of replenishing his combat strength. Both of them were very useful. Of course, more importantly, the Yuan Venerate was his master, and Xindian was also his friend. Helping his master and friends was something that he should do. All right, you guys enjoy the soul gems. I should also integrate the steel-armored ox demon martial soul into the beast god ring. Ling Xiao smiled, sat down at the side, and started to integrate the steel-armored ox demon martial soul. Due to the special attributes of the Tyrant Sky martial soul, it could contain all martial souls. Furthermore, it could exert pressure on any martial soul so that these martial souls wouldn't dare to rebel. Therefore, the integration process was very short. Other people might take a day, but Ling Xiao only took slightly more than 10 minutes to succeed. Steel-armored ox demon transformation. Tyrant blood demonic dragon transformation. The common characteristic was that they were very cool and comfortable. There was no need to deliberately control anything, and he could fight as he pleased. The difference was that the focus was different. This way, Ling Xiao could fight in different forms when he encountered different enemies. Next, I'll continue to integrate the Thunder Origin Jade and Lava Origin Jade. Of course, increasing his strength was still very important. Due to the breakthrough in his cultivation, Ling Xiao could integrate more Thunder Origin Jade and Lava Origin Jade. There were still 24 pieces of Thunder Origin Jade left. He had already integrated 40 pieces previously. The integration process was very simple at first. However, when the number reached 45 pieces, it became difficult. Ling Xiao had to use his transformation to survive. Chapter 23:14. Ling Xiao did not forcefully continue fusing with the Thunder Origin Jade, but changed to fusing with the Lava Origin Jade. When he reached the intermediate physique of 15 pieces, he also encountered great difficulty. Ling Xiao knew that as his strength increased, he could fuse with more Origin Jades. He was not in a hurry. As long as he improved in all aspects, that was enough. On the surface, he did not break through, but in reality, he was much stronger than when he killed the mutated ironback thorn beast on the second level of the ghost prison. Just as he was about to continue cultivating and fusing with the Origin Jades, an unusually fierce aura suddenly came from outside. Shahai. Ling Xiao was very familiar with this aura. It was Shahai, but he was clearly stronger than when he met him on the first level of the ghost prison. Ling Xiao, hurry up and come out to die, or I will destroy your broken house. Shahai was very arrogant today, not giving any face to the Black Immortal Mountain. Ling Xiao frowned, thinking that this loser still dared to be so arrogant. So he temporarily stopped cultivating and opened the door. When he stepped out, he found Ho Rin Feng and Feng Ru lying on the ground. Feng Ru had already fainted. Ho Rin Feng kept spitting out blood as he glared at the sea of sand. It was certain that Shahai was the one who attacked. Ling Xiao was not familiar with Ho Rin Feng, but he was a senior brother after all, so he did not make things difficult for him. And Feng-ru was his senior sister that he doted on dearly, but she was beaten to such a state. This made his eyes flash with a strong murderous intent. Since Sha Hai wanted to die, then he could not blame him for being ruthless. He looked at Sha Hai. This guy was indeed much stronger than before. Using Ling Xiao's Tai Chi eye to analyze, he was actually much stronger than the demon envoy whose soul had been devoured. And that was not all. There was a very beautiful lotus mark on Sha Hai's forehead. It was said that this was the immortal mark that only martial artists who were chosen by immortals could have. There was a powerful immortal power hidden inside. Once released, it could make a martial artist extremely powerful in a short period of time. The only thing that Ling Xiao was afraid of was this immortal mark. Although Sha Hai's strength was strong, it was not enough to make him afraid. As for the consequences of killing Desert Sea, Ling Xiao did not even consider them. If a man couldn't even protect his beloved senior sister, then he was no different from a dog. He knew that he could live a better life by enduring humiliation. Perhaps he could live a better life by sucking up to others like a lapdog. But he couldn't. He, Ling Xiao, was not the kind of person who would compromise. His martial path was tyrannical martial arts. He had to personally remove all the obstacles on the path of martial arts, not endure humiliation, and even more so not yield. "Did you injure them?" Ling Xiao asked as he looked coldly at the sea of sand. In his eyes, Sha Hai was already a dead man. He had to let the people of the Eight Immortals Mountain know that anyone who offended him, Ling Xiao, even if they were disciples of the Eight Immortals Mountain, even if they were from the 8 great clans, he would still kill them without hesitation. Starting from the heavenly dragon continent, Ling Xiao had come this far. When had he ever been afraid? That's right, I was the one who injured them. Those 2 pieces of trash actually dared to stop me from destroying your broken house. If I didn't hurt them, who would I hurt? Desert Sea said coldly. It's good that you admit it. Ling Xiao looked at Desert Sea indifferently and said, Tell me the reason why you're here today, and then you can wait to die. Ha 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 ha. Last time I lost to you on the 1st floor of the ghost prison. I admit that I'm not as good as you, but now I've profited from a disaster. My cultivation has continuously improved, and I've also received guidance from an immortal. Compared to me, what do you have? Sha Hai laughed maniacally. If it weren't for the guidance of an immortal, he might not have dared to come here today. After all, the previous incident made him somewhat afraid of Ling Xiao. But now, with the immortal's mark, how could he be afraid of a mere Ling Xiao? Nonsense. What exactly do you want? Ling Xiao couldn't be bothered to listen to Desert Sea's arrogant nonsense. Don't you understand? Lord Desert Sea wants to fight you to the death in the arena of life and death, in front of everyone in the 8 Immortal Mountain. The one who spoke was the deacon of the exchange office of the Hall of Good and Evil. That's right. Last time I asked you to fight in the arena of life and death, you refused. This time, do you still want to refuse? Our great hero Ling Xiao. Desert Sea revealed a mocking smile, as if he was trying to provoke him. You don't have to provoke me. In the end, you're just someone who lost to me. I won't be afraid of you in the arena of life and death. But if you want me to fight to the death with you for no reason, I don't have the time. I won't do something that doesn't benefit me. Ling Xiao actually wanted to agree directly, but since they were going to fight, he had to get some benefits. He couldn't let Desert Sea take advantage of him. I knew you would say that, but this kind of excuse is meaningless. I've already thought of the benefits. I heard that you like beast souls and soul-strengthening treasures. Coincidentally, I have a beast soul of the 3rd floor of hell and a mid-gold quality soul gem here. They're better than those you exchanged from the Hall of Good and Evil. If I lose to you, these things will naturally belong to you. If I win, you don't have to give me anything. Desert Sea sneered. I'd like to see what other reasons you have to refuse this arena of life and death. You're really considerate. Hearing Desert Sea's words, Ling Xiao couldn't help but feel happy. He had already planned to agree. Even if there weren't any benefits for Feng Ru and himself, he would make Desert Sea unable to use martial arts again. Therefore, this battle was necessary. Now that he had a better soul gem and a third floor of Helby's soul, he was even more willing to fight. That's right, you coward. Last time, you used an excuse to not go. This time, I naturally won't give you a reason to refuse. Desert Sea said confidently. If you don't dare to accept the challenge, kneel down and kowtow to Lord Desert Sea. In the future, if you see Lord Desert Sea, make a detour. This time it was Akira who spoke. It seemed that Desert Sea had come to Black Immortal Mountain because of Akira and the deacon's instigation. In addition, Desert Sea wanted to avenge himself, so he came directly to Black Immortal Mountain. You don't dare to accept the challenge? Ling Xiao sneered. Since you all like the arena of life and death so much, I, Ling Xiao, will accept this challenge. You agree? To be honest, Desert Sea was a little surprised. Akira, Feng Ru, Horin Feng, and the others were a little surprised, because on the surface, the current Desert Sea was much stronger than Ling Xiao. I agree. Good, kid, you've got guts. Then let's arrange for the arena of life and death in 3 days. I'll give you time to prepare. When Desert Sea heard Ling Xiao agree to the arena of life and death, he was obviously excited, because he knew that his chance to avenge himself would soon come. 3 days, only 3 days. Why go through so much trouble? Why don't we go to the arena of life and death now? Chapter 23:15. 8 Immortal Mountain, Arena of Life and Death. This was an arena that was specially set up by the sect to resolve internal conflicts between disciples. In the arena of life and death, one's life and death were up to fate. There was no need to take responsibility. At this moment, Ling Xiao and Sha Hai each stood on one side of the arena of life and death, waiting for the audience to gather. When Ling Xiao said that he wanted to start the arena of life and death immediately, Sha Hai naturally agreed. He was also worried that there would be unforeseen events as time went on. Only by completely crushing Ling Xiao, now would there be no accidents. His Immortal's mark now had an absolute advantage. But if Ling Xiao also stepped into the 8 Immortal Mountain and obtained the Immortal's mark, it would be troublesome. Although Sha Hai didn't know why Ling Xiao would make such a stupid decision, he was very happy. He wanted everyone to know that he was going to avenge his humiliation today, so his lackeys were spreading the news of the arena of life and death everywhere in the sect. This was the reason why there were so many spectators around the arena of life and death. The 8 mountain lords of the 8 Immortal Mountain had all arrived. The Hall Master of the Hall of Good and Evil, Lin Haoyu, had also arrived. Lin Ruoxian and the other deacons had arrived first. One could even see the figures of Sha Jiao and Jian Lufeng in the crowd. These people were basically here to watch the show. Ever since the establishment of the 8 Immortal Mountain, there had been arena of life and death between the disciples of the 8 Immortal Mountain. However, there had only been one time when the disciples of the 8 Immortal Mountain had won. That was when Ling Yan was a disciple of the Black Immortal Mountain. Now, Ling Xiao was also a disciple of the Black Immortal Mountain. He definitely didn't want to embarrass his good brother. Sha Hai, you're a disciple of the 8 Immortal Mountain. Why are you so obsessed with Ling Xiao of the Black Immortal Mountain? The Mountain Lord of the Black Immortal Mountain was very unwilling to see such an arena of life and death, because in such a battle, Ling Xiao would be at a disadvantage. It wasn't fair at all. Even if Ling Xiao was lucky and won against Sha Hai, one had to know that in front of so many people, it was tantamount to giving the sand race a big slap. Would the sand race forgive Ling Xiao? Therefore, no matter how one looked at it, arena of life and death was extremely bad for Ling Xiao. It was normal for the Black Immortal Mountain's Mountain Lord to be unwilling. After so many years, He finally saw hope in Ling Xiao for the revival of the Black Immortal Mountain. If Ling Xiao were to die, it would be a huge loss for both him and the Black Immortal Mountain. The arena of life and death was a place where life and death did not matter. Mountain Lord of the Black Immortal Mountain, there's no need for you to say anything more. It was Ling Xiao himself who agreed to my challenge. Actually, if he didn't agree, this life and death battle wouldn't have been possible. He is the one who is courting death. Don't blame me. Shanghai looked arrogantly at the Black Immortal Mountain's Mountain Lord. Perhaps it was because his cultivation had greatly improved and he had obtained the Immortal's mark, which meant that he might be fancied by the cultivators of the Immortal Court Continent in the future and be taken to the Immortal Court Continent to cultivate. That was the strongest continent in the profound world. Right now, he was extremely special in the entire 8 Immortal Mountain. Once a battle to the death was established, no one other than the sect leader had the right to stop it. Of course, one side could admit defeat as well. It was naturally impossible for Shanghai to stop this life and death battle. To him, this was an excellent opportunity for him to wash away his previous humiliation. The Mountain Lord of the Black Immortal Mountain frowned and looked at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, I thought you were a calm person. Why are you so muddle-headed today? Are you a match for him? Entering this arena of life and death is the same as courting death. Hurry up and admit defeat. Perhaps it was because he was a little anxious, but the Mountain Lord of the Black Immortal Mountain's words were very strict and his tone was very heavy. He wanted Ling Xiao to give up on the life and death battle. Why? Ling Xiao asked indifferently. Why have you become so stupid? You have to understand that in the arena of life and death, he can kill you without any qualms. No one will punish him if he kills you. However, you can't ignore the sand race behind him. Let's not talk about whether you are stronger than him. Just this relationship alone is extremely disadvantageous for you. You really shouldn't have participated in such an unfair arena of life and death. The Mountain Lord of the Black Immortal Mountain said anxiously, in the arena of life and death don't matter. If the sand race is afraid of their people dying, then let Shanghai admit defeat now. Otherwise, once the battle starts, I won't show any mercy. I've killed people stronger than him, people more arrogant than him, and I'm still alive and well. Ling Xiao looked at the Mountain Lord of the Black Immortal Mountain indifferently and said, Mountain Lord, do you really think that I, Ling Xiao, am just a young and inexperienced child? I'm a samsara warrior. My experience is much richer than yours. These words instantly stunned the Mountain Lord of the Black Immortal Mountain. That's right. His cultivation was strong, but he wasn't a samsara warrior. Therefore, he didn't know what Ling Xiao had experienced. He also didn't understand that killing Shanghai was nothing to Ling Xiao. If he didn't even dare to kill Shanghai, then how could he think of challenging the Eternal Palace in the future? Ling Xiao, I'm begging you, don't participate in this battle. It's meaningless. Are you confident that you can beat him? Feng Ru's face was already covered in tears. She grabbed Ling Xiao's hand and cried out. Ling Xiao gently patted her head and said, I still have a chance of winning, but it's only about 50%. Before the battle starts, no one can say for sure if I can win in the end. 50%? Did you calculate his immortal mark? Feng Ru said unhappily. No, because I don't know what an immortal mark is. I've never seen it before. Ling Xiao shook his head and said, You're crazy. You don't even know what an immortal mark is. And you dare say you have a 50% chance of winning? Let me tell you, once the immortal mark is unsealed, Shanghai's strength will increase by at least 10 times. You're no match for him. Feng Ru helplessly said, Listen to senior sister. Don't continue this battle. You can't win. Senior sister, a man's words carry enormous weight. Now that so many people are watching, do you want me to be a coward? Ling Xiao chuckled and said, He has his trump card and I also have mine. Senior sister, you don't know me, do you? Hearing this, Feng Ru suddenly froze. To be honest, she still didn't know how strong Ling Xiao was. It was just that after this brat joined the 8th Immortal Mountain, he had done one amazing thing after another, which simply made people dumbfounded. Could it be that this guy was still hiding some terrifying trump card? Feng Ru didn't speak. At this time, the guards in charge of the life and death arena drove away the irrelevant people near the arena. Feng Ru was pushed to the side along with the crowd. At this time, there were thousands of disciples watching the battle near the life and death arena. Of course, most of them were disciples who came down from the 8th Immortal Mountain. They heard that Ling Xiao was going to have a life and death arena with Shahai, a disciple of the 8th Immortal Mountain. This was simply sensational news. One must know that the 8th Immortal Mountain was a place that represented mystery and strength. It was the true source and core of the 8th Immortal Mountain. Chapter 23:16. The Black Immortal Mountain Master could not persuade Ling Xiao, so he could only watch from the side. However, the sounds of ridicule by his ears did not stop. Black Immortal Mountain Master, your disciple has really improved. He even dares to challenge someone from the 8th Immortal Mountain. Do you think he can win? The one who asked this was the Purple Immortal Mountain Master. In the previous ghost prison trial, Ling Xiao was in the limelight, but he was a little embarrassed. He had always looked down on Ling Xiao, but in the end it was equivalent to slapping himself a few times. Therefore, he held a grudge against Ling Xiao. Now that he had encountered such an opportunity to ridicule someone, how could he give it up? The Black Immortal Mountain Master's heart was in a mess, but it was impossible for him to remain silent. He said coldly, "Indeed, Shahai's cultivation has reached the middle stage of the first transformation, 2nd level of hell. He has also obtained the Immortal's mark. Whether it is cultivation or knowledge, he has improved a lot. There is no doubt about his strength. However, our Black Immortal Mountain's Ling Xiao is not to be trifled with. Don't forget that he has just killed the demon envoy of the Devil's Shadow sect. Although the demon envoy suffered a backlash and his strength decreased, he still has the strength of a middle stage of the first transformation, 2nd level of hell. It is the same as Shahai's current strength. Therefore, in my opinion, this battle, at least for now, cannot be concluded so early." Ha ha ha. Black Immortal Mountain Master, don't lie to yourself. The Scarlet Fairy Mountain's Mountain Lord, Qilian, laughed loudly and said, "Who saw Ling Xiao kill the demon envoy? Anyway, no one from the 8th Immortal Mountain saw it. It was said that the live broadcast was interrupted at that time. Ling Xiao might have used some tricks. You should be more realistic. One is at the middle stage of the first transformation, 2nd level of hell. The other is at the peak of the first transformation, 1st level of hell. There is a big gap between them. No matter how powerful Ling Xiao is, he can't win against Shahai. Not to mention, Shahai has the Immortal's mark." Qilian naturally looked down on Ling Xiao because she had secretly investigated recently and found out that her daughter, Qian, had been killed by Ling Xiao. Although it was just a one-sided statement and there was no evidence, she still had a very strong hatred for Ling Xiao. If Shahai could kill Ling Xiao, she would definitely celebrate with the others. Not bad. At this time, Sand Eagle also came over and said, "Have you heard of anyone who can defeat a disciple of the 8 Immortals Mountain with a lower status?" Everyone fell silent. A moment later, a voice suddenly sounded. "Of course there is, but he's a taboo." The Mountain Lord of the Black Immortal Mountain said coldly. Everyone present knew the person he was talking about. Naturally, it was Ling Yan, the former sect leader of the 8 Immortals Mountain. Moreover, he was the strongest sect master in the history of the 8 Immortals Mountain. However, that person's name was not allowed to be mentioned. Thus, the Black Immortal Mountain's Mountain Master only mentioned that person and did not mention his name. Ling Xiao is not qualified to compare to that traitor. Sand Eagle snorted coldly. Although everyone said that Ling Yan was a traitor, Ling Yan's strength was completely recognized by the entire 8 Immortals Mountain. That was why Ling Yan was terrifying. Although Ling Zhao's surname is also Ling, it's definitely impossible for him to reach Ling Yan's level. That's the only exception. Other than that person, no one else has succeeded. Qi Lian also said, "The Black Immortal Mountain's Mountain Master did not say anything because he knew that what everyone said was the truth. Although he had just refuted, in fact, those words could not even convince himself. How could Ling Xiao be a match for Shahai, Black Immortal Mountain's Mountain Master? You don't have to worry too much. Even if Ling Xiao can't defeat Shahai, he might not die." Lin Haoyu suddenly sent a voice transmission to the Black Immortal Mountain's Mountain Master. "I heard from Ruoxian that Ling Xiao did defeat that demon envoy with his own hands. Although he seemed to have used the power of some Dharma treasure, it can't be wrong. Moreover, 2 days ago, Ling Xiao even killed the mutated ironback thorn beast on the 2nd floor of the ghost prison. That mutated ironback thorn beast's strength is comparable to Shahai's. Although beasts and martial artists cannot be compared, Shahai is definitely several times more powerful than that mutated ironback thorn beast. However, Ling Zhao's survival is definitely not a problem." "Is that true?" The Black Immortal Mountain's Mountain Master's worried expression relaxed a little. "It can't be wrong." Lin Haoyu nodded. Hearing this, the Black Immortal Mountain's Mountain Master heaved a sigh of relief. What he was most worried about was not Ling Xiao being defeated, but Ling Xiao being killed. In fact, as long as Ling Xiao didn't die, it was enough for him. "Ling Xiao, oh Ling Xiao, just play with that arrogant guy. Don't let him undo the immortal mark. Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't even be able to survive." The Black Immortal Mountain's Mountain Master looked at the arena and prayed in his heart. "Shahai, it's about time. Those who should be here are already here. For those who don't want to come, no matter how much you advertise, it's useless. Hurry up and end this battle. I still have to go back and cultivate." Ling Zhao's voice suddenly rang out in the arena. The Black Immortal Mountain's Mountain Master instantly frowned. This kid, why is he deliberately provoking Shahai? Does he really want to die? On the other side, Qing Feiying also appeared very nervous, because today's life and death arena not only concerned Ling Zhao's life and death, but also her marriage. She had already signed a contract with Desert Cloud. If Ling Xiao didn't die, then she wouldn't have to marry Desert Cloud. Desert Cloud would take the initiative to renounce the engagement. But if Ling Xiao was killed by Shahai, then she would have to obediently marry Desert Cloud. From then on, she wouldn't be able to complain at all. To Qing Feiying, her happiness in this life was actually all on Ling Xiao. But at this moment, she didn't know whether she was doing the right thing. She also didn't know why she was so impulsive. Was it right for her to bet everything on Ling Xiao? To put it bluntly, this battle is an act of insubordination. Ever since Ling Xiao defeated the demon envoy, he's been a little arrogant. He'll definitely fall in Shahai's hands. Such discussions occupied the majority of the audience. Ling Xiao listened to them and felt a little bored. In the past, he wouldn't have come to the life and death arena at all. He would have killed Shahai on the spot. Looking at Feng Ru and Bei Run Feng, who still hadn't recovered from their injuries, Ling Xiao had no sympathy or pity for Shahai. If this problem wasn't solved, there would be more problems. It was normal that people didn't think highly of him. His cultivation wasn't as good as Shahai's, and he didn't have something like the Immortal's Mark. How could he win against Shahai? Even those who were protecting him would think so. After all, this kind of thing was too unreliable. Ling Xiao, last time in the ghost prison, I was bewitched by the demons and did some bad things. But you took advantage of me and almost killed me. Today, I will use my own hands to wash away my shame. Chapter 23:17. Hee, your words sound better than a song. Unfortunately, no matter how many excuses you come up with, you won't be able to escape the fate of dying under my sword today. Ling Xiao laughed disdainfully and said, I once asked someone to pass a message to you. I told you that since you managed to survive with great difficulty, you should cherish your life. Don't come looking for death when you have nothing to do. It seems like he didn't pass on the message. Reckless fool. Do you really think that this young master is still as weak as last time? Sha Hai was unable to restrain his anger as a violent force suddenly erupted. His aura instantly rose to an extremely high level. The aura of a first transition, second layer of hell was extremely domineering in the life and death arena. Behind him, a terrifying sandstorm gradually formed. At this moment, Sha Hai was like a giant overlooking Ling Xiao in terms of aura, causing Ling Xiao to be unable to breathe. Yes, just based on aura alone, it's stronger than that mutated ironback thorn beast. Compared to the demon envoy, it's also stronger. Looks like there's going to be a tough battle ahead of us today. Ling Xiao felt Sha Hai's powerful aura. Not only did he not cower, but he also revealed an excited expression. To him, a powerful enemy was not a terrifying monster, but a stepping stone for him to increase his strength. Almost every time his cultivation increased, it would happen after a battle with a powerful martial artist. The current him was only a step away from advancing to the second layer of hell. The door to the second layer of hell was already 90% open. Perhaps if he defeated Sha Hai today, he could break through. I'll let you taste something new. Ling Xiao smiled strangely and said, Steel-armored ox demon martial soul transformation. This steel-armored ox demon martial soul was something Ling Xiao had just bought from Lin Haoyu. Back then, Sha Hai had used very despicable methods to prevent Ling Xiao from obtaining this item. Today, Ling Xiao would use the steel-armored ox demon to defeat his opponent. Under the steel-armored ox demon martial soul transformation, Ling Xiao's strength steadily increased to the first transition, second layer of hell, although there was still a small gap between him and Sha Hai. However, this gap could be completely closed in terms of technique. Up until now, no matter if his cultivation was stronger or weaker than his, there had never been anyone who had better control of martial arts and battle techniques than him. Therefore, facing Sha Hai, Ling Xiao was not afraid at all. He didn't even plan to use his lightning battle body and lava battle body for the time being. He is indeed a beast warrior, but it seems to be different from his transformation in the underground city. Lin Haoyu's eyes were filled with joy. This brat, no wonder he was in such a hurry to obtain the steel-armored ox demon martial soul. So it's to increase with Sha Hai to increase in battle to increase battle strength. It seems like I have underestimated him. With his current strength, if Sha Hai doesn't use the Immortal's Mark, I may not be able to defeat him. This battle will be very interesting. Hall, Master Lin, the people from the audit department are here. To you. The review department was a very special department of the 8 Immortals Mountain. They were responsible for reviewing whether or not the disciples of the 8 Immortals Mountain were qualified to participate in the promotion test. After all, there were too many disciples in the lower 8 Immortal Mountain. It would be very troublesome to choose based on cultivation. What the review department had to do was to do a detailed investigation of every disciple who participated in the assessment. In the end, they would confirm if these people were qualified to participate in the assessment. After all, people could die in the assessment. The 8 Immortal Mountain did not want some people to die because they were not strong enough. Are they here to check on Ling Xiao? Lin Haoyu looked at the mysterious people in the crowd and said, It's very possible. Sha Hai is already a disciple of the upper 8 Immortal Mountain. Other than Ling Xiao, there shouldn't be anyone else who needs to be assessed. The Black Immortal Mountain's Mountain Master nodded and said, I can see that today's battle is very important to Ling Xiao. It's true that it's important, but unfortunately, Ling Xiao will miss this great opportunity. Do you really think he can defeat Shahai? A piercing voice came from the side. It was Qi Lian stirring up trouble again. Lin Haoyu and the Black Immortal Mountain's Mountain Master did not speak. They were frowning. Even though Qi Lian's words were very harsh to the ear, they had to admit that those words really made sense. With Ling Xiao's current cultivation and strength, it was really too difficult for him to defeat Shahai. It was already very good that he could keep his life. At this moment, the battle on the field had already begun. The first to attack was Shahai. Right now, he was very eager to defeat Ling Xiao and turn Ling Xiao into a corpse. Only then would he be able to walk out of the shadows of the past. To put it bluntly, Ling Xiao had already become his inner demon. Sandrace's secret technique, Sandstorm Tornado. As soon as he came up, Shahai used his ultimate move. At least on the first level of the ghost prison, this was Shahai's strongest move. As for whether it was still the same now, it was hard to say. However, looking at the power of this move, it was really more than 10 times stronger than before. How was Ling Xiao? Could he block it? Everyone looked at Ling Xiao. However, they saw Ling Xiao standing there motionlessly, as if he was a statue. The terrifying sandstorm tornado instantly devoured his body. Could it be that that guy couldn't control his new power and something happened to him? Lin Haoyu stood up anxiously. It's good that he died. People who overestimate themselves are always in such a hurry to die. Qi Lian grunted coldly and took pleasure in his misfortune as he spoke. Who told you that he would die? Mountain Master Qi Lian, open your dog eyes and take a look. This cold voice came from the Black Immortal Mountain's Mountain Master. His words were not pleasant to hear. That was because Qi Lian's repeated mockery and provocation had already angered this low-profile Mountain Master. Although Qi Lian was angry, he still looked at the arena. After the sandstorm tornado, Ling Xiao was still standing there. His majestic body was like a bull demon cast in steel armor. He held a huge sharp sword in his hand and stared coldly at Shahai opposite him. He's actually unscathed? Qi Lian's expression was gloomy and shocked. She did not expect Ling Xiao to be able to block Shahai's terrifying attack. In fact, she was not the only one. The others were also shocked. Shahai's attack was more than 10 times stronger than before. However, it did not cause any damage to Ling Xiao. That was simply unbelievable. That move would have sucked away all the qi and blood of an ordinary martial artist at the peak of the first level of hell and turned him into a mummy. This guy does seem to have some skills. Who knows, maybe he really killed the demon envoy himself, and not the rumors that he was killed by a sand eagle. The Mountain Master of Green Immortal Mountain said, You're speaking too early. Don't forget that Shahai's current cultivation is no longer the same as before. Moreover, his strongest move is no longer that move. Ling Xiao's outcome can't be any different. He can only die. He asked for it. He can't blame anyone else. Shahai sneered. Do you really think that a disciple of the 8 Immortal Mountain can defeat my useless brother? Chapter 23:18. In the arena, Shahai looked at Ling Xiao coldly. There was a hint of anger between his brows. He wanted to end the battle quickly, but Ling Xiao just wouldn't die. How could he not be angry? You're not happy that you didn't kill me? What a pity. Your move is too weak. If you don't have a stronger move, you won't be able to kill me today. Ling Xiao looked at Shahai indifferently. As he spoke, Ling Xiao was truly ecstatic in his heart. This steel-armored ox demon martial soul was really too suitable for him now. After the transformation, his entire defense had skyrocketed. He believed that even if he stood here and let Shahai hit him, Shahai wouldn't be able to hurt a single hair on his body. This defense could be said to be extremely abnormal. It seemed that the more suitable the martial soul was, the more powerful the combat strength it could unleash. Although the sun god martial soul transformation from before was not bad, it was unfortunately not suitable for his current cultivation, so he couldn't unleash its true power at all. It was the same for the ancient hell dragon soul, nature dragon soul, and 5 elements dragon soul. With Ling Xiao's current strength, he really couldn't fully control them. Forcefully using them was like using a divine weapon to cut vegetables. It was actually not as good as using an ordinary kitchen knife. He didn't know before, but now that he really tried it, he knew how good it was. Sha Hai's attack was so powerful. To be honest, he was really sweating for himself just now. But reality proved that his steel-armored ox demon martial soul transformation was even stronger. Again, Sha Hai was a little emotional. His body actually began to merge with the violent sandstorm. A huge sandman formed on the arena. The place where the sandman stood instantly turned into lifeless quicksand. Even the array on the arena was turned into quicksand by this terrifying effect. Ling Xiao, you're really lucky to be able to taste my strongest move. You should be proud to be able to die under this move. These words were naturally not bragging. Ling Xiao could clearly feel that when Sha Hai used this move, his aura had more than doubled. The huge sandman waved its sky-covering hand and slapped towards Ling Xiao. As long as that hand touched him, Ling Xiao would probably turn into sand just like the arena. What a terrifying move. Sandrace's secret technique, Sandman. The terrifying aura, coupled with the frightening effect, caused the spectators near the ring to move away. No one wanted to be touched by any of those grains of sand, because once touched, they might be smashed to pieces and turned into quicksand. Just the thought of such a fate was miserable. Sha Hai deserves to be called a genius of the sand race. He's too strong. Can that Ling Xiao block it? I don't believe it. I'm afraid he's dead for sure this time. There's no chance at all. That might not be the case. Haven't you noticed? Ling Xiao hasn't made a move yet. Some people thought that Ling Xiao would definitely lose. Some people thought that Ling Xiao hadn't made a move yet and was just purely defending. Therefore, the battle wasn't over yet. Your move is not bad. Let me make my move. The steel-armored ox demon pointed the huge sword in its hands at Sha Hai and the huge sandman. Then, a terrifying sword chi instantly pierced through the void. The surrounding sand was instantly cleared by the sword chi. A terrifying sword will brood on the heavy sword and soared to an extremely high level in an instant. State of the transformative fall. Using the steel-armored ox demon's transformation, it was the first move of the meteor sword technique. The power of this move was even more terrifying than before. The moment the sword beams touched the sandmen collapsed and fell to the ground. As for San Si, he revealed his true form and was astonished in the huge pile of sand. Don't be so surprised. It's not that I'm too strong, but that you're too weak. Although your move is powerful, it's too slow. Moreover, it's perfectly countered by the effect of my move. Ling Xiao looked at Sha Hai indifferently. It sounded like an explanation, but it was full of confidence and dominance. What's going on? Sha Hai's attack was easily neutralized by Ling Xiao again? This is too unbelievable. How can Ling Xiao be so powerful? That was the same question in everyone's mind. If Ling Xiao was unharmed by Sha Hai's attack the first time, it could be explained that Sha Hai underestimated him and did not use his full strength. But this time, not only did Ling Xiao block Sha Hai's attack, but he also did it with ease. Was this still underestimating him? They were really confused. As for those who looked down on Ling Xiao, their faces were a little awkward, especially Qi Lian, the mountain master of Purple Fairy Mountain, and that sand eagle. They were all eager to see Ling Xiao killed by Sha Hai. However, Ling Xiao did not let them have their wish. Instead, he neutralized Sha Hai's seemingly powerful attacks time and time again. It seems that even Mountain Master Qi Lian can be wrong sometimes. The Mountain Master of Black Fairy Mountain mocked coldly, and Mountain Master of Purple Fairy Mountain, your judgment seems to be getting worse. Humph, the battle isn't over yet. You should know best how strong Ling Xiao is. Don't forget that Shanghai has an immortal's mark now, not the sand race's mark from before. Qi Lian snorted coldly. Of course, he was not convinced. After all, the battle wasn't over yet. Below the battlefield, Lin Ruoxian and Cheng Feiying looked at Ling Xiao with a special look in their eyes. Especially Cheng Feiying. She had bet her entire life's happiness on Ling Xiao. She was both shocked and happy at Ling Xiao's outstanding performance. Cheng Feiying, don't be too happy too early. Lord Shanghai's immortal's mark hasn't been activated yet. Desert Cloud reminded her. He was the most indignant. If Shanghai couldn't kill Ling Xiao, he would really have to give up on Cheng Feiying. This was something he was extremely unwilling to do. It was as if she was responding to him. In the arena, the mark between Shanghai's brows finally shone brightly. It was a green light that seemed to be ascending. Shanghai's cold voice sounded again. Ling Xiao, I didn't want to use the immortal's mark at first, but you forced me to do all this. Retreat. Lin Haoyu suddenly stood up and shouted, Everyone retreat. It's best if you're 1 kilometer away. Use your strongest defensive martial arts to defend. Many people didn't know what was going on, but they did as they were told. However, some people were a little foolish and bold. They listened to Lin Haoyu's words and smiled, not caring at all. But in the next moment, terrifying lightning struck within 1 kilometer of Shanghai. It was so dense that there were at least 1,000 of them. Those who didn't escape were killed on the spot. I was careless. When the immortal's mark is activated, it will summon the immortal thunder of the immortal court. Lin Haoyu sighed helplessly as he looked at the dozens of people who were killed. Fortunately, most of them had already escaped. Wait, Ling Xiao can't be killed too, right? You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.